Russian roulette and Russian roulette. 4th down, 11. White's going to throw. Pass is deflected. Pass it. Omar caught. Touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn! This is the snap. Kick. The kick is away by Von Wild. The kick is good! 2 seconds to go!
This the extra point. This is it. They blocked it! Auburn blocked the kick! They've done it again!
Florida Field in Gainesville, Florida, filled to capacity. In fact, tonight we look for another record crowd. The Auburn Tigers, ranked number 4 in the nation, come calling against the Florida Gators, who are ranked number 15. And who wants to be number 1? I don't know. Virginia lost today. Notre Dame has been victorious. Nebraska has been knocked off. Jury is still out on the Auburn Tigers. And for Illinois, they have been defeated by the Iowa Hawkeyes. Let's go down to the bottom of this stadium, and in the tunnel, a very dramatic moment. This is the final home game for these seniors for the Florida Gators, as the underclassmen stand and pat them on the back and shake their hands to wish them well, as they head to the field where they are greeted by their parents. And we must say that this has been a very resilient group of Florida seniors, because they have been through a lot, but they have proven that resiliency is the name of their game, as this Florida program is very much alive and well. Kirkpatrick about to take the field for the last time for Kirk. Number 88, the man that is featured in such a high-profile way with this Florida Gator offense. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin, and welcome into another Saturday night of CFA football here on ESPN. A big one in the Southeastern Conference, you bet it is. In fact, it goes beyond that. The Auburn Tigers sitting on top, but as you saw in the tease just a moment ago, they have played it so close to the edge this year. 4 different times they have been that close to losing. They've come away, though, with 3 victories, and one of those a tie. For the Florida Gators, they can't go anywhere. They're on probation, but they can sure help decide who is going to win the Southeastern Conference this year. And Gary Danielson, I guess the most obvious question is for the Auburn Tigers. Catcher's supposed to have 9 lives. How many lives does this cat have?
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to find out tonight. It may happen again. And maybe even more importantly, what type of cat does Pat Dye have? You know, usually as the season goes along, the coach understands more and more about his football team. That has not been the case this year. Pat Dye is still searching for what team will show up. And really the frustration is centered around a couple things. On defense, they've been solid, but they haven't had that impact player. Look for the outside linebackers, number 92, Ricky Sutton, and number 99, Larry Young. If they play big tonight, they will have that impact player on defense that he has to have. And on offense, they've got an impact player, number 11, Stan White, but he's only a freshman, and he's been a little inconsistent. They need to get something out of him more than 4th down. He says God's been with him on 4th down. He needs to come through on the early downs a little bit to have a chance tonight.
All right, Jerry, let me ask you about the Florida Gators. 3 weeks ago, we did the ball game up in Knoxville. They not only got beat, they got shellacked, 45-3. They came back and they played Akron. They did what they should have against an Akron football team. Now they've had a week off. But in the backs of their minds, is Tennessee still present? Is that something they're going to have a tough time getting out?
Well, we asked Coach Spurrier about that, and he said no way. But it's like a guy who's playing golf. He's okay. He comes to a water hole, and he tops his drive into the water. Now you go to a couple of easy driving holes, you're okay. Well, tonight they're back at another water hole. This Auburn defense can do the same thing. If Florida does not play and hit it flush and do it, they're going to be in for trouble. And the key point, their offensive line. Air Spurrier works with an offensive line. There you look at the key guys. If they give Shane Matthews time to throw the ball, I think they can move the ball tonight against Auburn.
Well, Kevin Kiley is joining us on the telecast this evening, and I know there was a lot of emotion and a lot of noise down on the field. I hope he can hear me. Kevin Kiley.
Oh, I can hear you, Ron, but just barely. It's a critical time of the schedule for both of these teams. A portion of the schedule that Auburn calls Amen Corner. How did it get that way? Well, Pat Dye was brought up in a place called Blythe, Georgia, just a few miles from Augusta. He worked at the Masters Golf Tournament as a young man. He got to know very well holes 11, 12, and 13, Amen Corner. When he came to Auburn, he named this part of the schedule Amen Corner. 3 of the last 4 games. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. If Auburn doesn't do well at Amen Corner, there'll be no SEC title and no national title. Ron, it's wild and crazy down here. Let's kick this thing off.
Okay, Kevin. ESPN CFA Primetime Football, Auburn at Florida, is brought to you by HBO, Simply the Best. By Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. And by New West, Skin Scent for Him, created by Aramis. Florida Field, it is called Ben Hill Griffith Stadium. And to kick it off, as Auburn won the toss, this is Chris Dickinson. He's a senior from Birmingham, but they have deferred to the second half. Number 84, Harrison Houston, a freshman from Pensacola. And joining him to his right is Monty Duncan. He's a redshirt freshman from St. Augustine, Florida. The last 8 times that the Florida Gators have played host to the Auburn Tigers, they have won 7 of the 8. We're underway. Duncan from the 5. Duncan all the way back to the 32-yard line. Now the starter, Shane Matthews out of Pascagoula, Mississippi, at quarterback. Behind him, Dexter McNabb, and Willie McClendon will start in front of Rhett this evening. The wide receivers, they're both very good. Terrence Barber and Ernie Mills. The tight end, here's the feature of the offense, Kirkpatrick. Look for him to catch a bunch. Cal Dixon is the center. He'll be flanked by Ismail and Chris Bromley. And the tackles, Mark White and Tony Roel. Matthews set screen in the first play. Ball is tipped, and Matthews makes the reception. And that is to the 20-yard line. Gary.
One of the things that happened there, Ron, is he been better off letting that baby drop.
Walter Tate is the nose guard. The defensive tackles, David Rocker and Fernando Horn, gets the start tonight. James Willis and Darrell Crawford, the inside backers. Ricky Sutton and Larry Young, who Gary talked about a moment ago on the outside. In the secondary at the corners, it's Ramsey and Barlow. In the safeties, John Wiley and Frank Stankunas. Second and a mile. Throws it to his tight end on the delay. Kirkpatrick takes it across the 26 to the 27. And now the Florida Gators will be looking at a third down situation at about 15.
Kirkpatrick, the tight end, is their leading receiver in this Florida offense. He's going to try to help block all night, but look at the little check down. Steve Spurrier setting up the fact that even though he's going to help block, he's also a potential receiver. So a good job by Spurrier getting it into the game plan early.
Third down, they need the 41. Rips it out to Terrence Barber. He will have a couple, maybe 3 to the 30-yard line, and it will be punting time for Florida. Mike Pena is there to make the hit. So a very impressive defensive start for the Auburn Tigers, and Shane Wasden will be looking at a punt from this young man right here, Arden Tchaikovsky. Arden averaging just shy of 35 yards a kick. Took over the punting chores in the early part of the season. Also does the place kicking for the Gators. Not real long, but a good coverage kick as Wasden runs away from it. Now takes a big Auburn bounce, and that will be knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Let's look at the starters for Auburn on offense. The redshirt freshman Stan White out of Birmingham at quarterback. And behind him, the 2 veteran boombacks, we call them, James Joseph and Stacy Danley. The wideouts, Greg Taylor and Shane Wasden. The tight end is Victor Hall. At center, and this is a fine offensive line, Bob Meeks at center. The guards, Ed King, the All-American, and Tim Tillman. And the tackles, Wayne Gandy and Rob Selby. Fumbles the snap from center. Joseph picks it up as a flag comes down. And he is tackled at the 50-yard line, and what could have been disaster is a pickup of 2. Now let's check the marker.
Stopped by Spear. Flag.
Face masking is called against Florida. Well, he picked it up and at least had the presence of mind to take it for a couple of yard gain and then add on that it's incidental as far as the face mask. It is not the major, but the 5-yard penalty will push it to the 45-yard line. So it will now be a first down and 3 yards to go. Linebacker stunning up, and Danley hit at the line of scrimmage. He'll have a gain of 1. Here are the starters for the Gators defensively. Culpepper and Brandon, the defensive tackles. At the defensive ends, Huey Richardson, the All-American, and Mark Murray. The linebackers on the inside, Tim Paulk and Jerry Odom. On the outside, Fee Bartley and Godfrey Miles. He's the Gator back, is Miles. And the corners, Richard Fain and Del Spear. And the one safety, Will White, since they run for the 4-4-3. Second and 2. The pitch to Danley. Turns the corner as he hurdles the man and is down to the 39. And that is enough for the Auburn first down +4. Culpepper defensively.
We talked to Pat Dye about what the game plan would be for Auburn. Even though Florida runs a 4-4 defense, he believes versus this even front, they can effectively run the ball. He thinks that they can get the running game going, ease up a little bit of pressure on Stan White, and make the game plan start that way.
Darrell Williams, the 5'9", 198-pound sophomore out of Pritchard, checks into the Tiger lineup at tailback. Flags go down. He was moving forward, and the draw play, Culpepper is just right there to devour him. But that movement came when the player in motion turned back toward the line of scrimmage.
They're going to try to get one of their motion men in the face of Godfrey Miles and Fee Bartley, the 2 rover backs. He turned up a little bit early, and that caused all the problems.
Steve Spurrier, the last time that we were down here televising, that was the LSU game, and we mentioned the fact that always the characteristic sign of him is that golf hat that he wears, actually a visor, but he doesn't wear it at night, and again is not attired in one. Stacey Danley comes back into the lineup, joining James Joseph. Safety blitz. Straight ahead, Danley breaks it for 4, now 5. Mike Brandon, the junior from Perry, Florida, tripped him up, and when he went by the safety like that, I'm sure the defensive coaches had a bit of short breath.
Defensive coordinator Jim Bates says he's going to try to give them some different looks. They're going to blitz. They're going to bring everybody tonight, try to cause some confusions. But he ran right by it. They were in the right defense. They just didn't make the tackle.
Herbert Casey comes in at wide receiver. Dale Overton also in the lineup. Is Danley the lone setback? White sets the screen, throws it complete inside the 35, and Danley will not have it. And again, it's Culpepper. His number 50 has been all over the field on this opening series. So it will be 4th down, and the punter, Richie Nell, comes on the field. Now, whether Florida will come after him or not, I don't know, but this year, Auburn punters cumulatively have had 3 kicks blocked. Florida has blocked 4 on the season, and this time light pressure because of field position. To the end zone for a touchback. It's a kick of 32 yards. We'll take a timeout. Fall Saturday, Auburn at Florida is brought to you by Sterling Motor Cars. See your Sterling dealer about 0% APR financing or leasing with no charge, maintenance included. And by Michelob Dry Beer. Once you experience the bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back. As we wind up on Richard Fain's jersey, you looked at the seniors' jerseys as they were panned across in the locker room. And tonight, as we mentioned off the top of the telecast, a special night for them. This is their last home game here at Gainesville. Draw play to McClendon. Fights it out of the 25 to the 26. That's Dennis Wallace, the senior from Carrollton, Georgia, from his strong safety, coming up to make the stop. but it's a gain, very close to 7 on the play.
Both teams still just feeling each other out, sticking with their game plans. Florida does not want to make any mistakes early, play a little field position. Auburn would like to make things happen in front of them. They don't believe Florida could drive up and down the field on them.
Wallace, who just made the stop, 2 interceptions to lead his team this year. Auburn with a total of 6. McClendon again. You could see the pulling guard Ismail, but in behind he gets cut down by David Rocker. And one of the comments that Steve Spurrier made earlier this week is if we can't block Rocker, we don't have a chance to win the football game.
Well, they have to control him. You're never going to control David Rocker and block him completely every play, but they got to keep the big plays away from David Rocker. There you look at him, 6'4", 264. He causes a lot of havoc. He's rotating in and out of the game. He will be fresh all night.
3rd down. Gators need about 2.5. On 3rd and short, he's going to throw, flushed out of the pocket, and he is sacked by Ricky Sutton. One of the outside backers that Gary talked about off the top of the telecast, and it's a loss of 6.
Steve Spurrier said Shane Matthews needs to throw to his underneath guys. Remember, this is 3rd and very short. He's got the tight end. He's got a back in front of him. He really doesn't have the ability to scramble out and pick up these first downs. The Auburn defensive line is too quick for him.
Arden Krzyzewski, his first punt, 24 yards. Kicking into a fairly stiff breeze here at Florida Field. Wasden, the deep man. This is end over end and a line drive. Very returnable. Gets one block, gets another, turns the corner, and will be ridden out of bounds at the 49-yard line. 37 yards in the kick and 12 on the return.
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Look into the sleek design of the Sterling 827 SLI, luxuriously appointed with handcrafted wood, rich in supple Connolly leather. And right now, a Sterling 827 SLI is a most prudent investment. British performance and athletic handling with the finest, most affordable financing starting at 0%. Or lease a Sterling SLI with maintenance included at no charge. No matter how you look at it, it's time to see what it's like to drive a Sterling SLI.
From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
Just about at the midway point of this opening quarter, and it just as we had figured, opening with a defensive struggle. A report from the sideline, Huey Richardson injured his back. Darren Mickle, the sophomore from Miami, is coming replacing him. We'll get a report momentarily. White out of the backfield, juggling the ball, and inside the 40-yard line, James Joseph, Godfrey Miles makes the tackle at the 35. Let's go down to Kevin Kiley for an update on Huey Richardson.
Ron, thank you. Key player in that great Florida defense. Defensive end Huey Richardson, an All-American. He's been hit in the back. They're icing down his back. They do expect him back in the ball game, but as yet he is not back in there. Back upstairs to you, Ron.
Kevin, he had problems earlier this week with what they called problems with his upper back, and obviously a reoccurrence. Stanley this time hammers his way at left guard. Jerry Odom steps up into the hole to make the hit, the senior from Merritt Island, Florida.
One of the reasons James Joseph is playing is because of his blocking ability. Watch the counter gap play. Joseph is going to fill on Mark Murray, the tight, the defensive end, and that's what you're going to see all night. The two senior backs blocking for each other. Auburn trying to run the ball.
Also, I saw big number 70, Bob Meeks, the junior center out of Evergreen. throw a paving way block on that run. Manley to the 30. Godfrey Miles, the Gatorback, steps up to make the hit, and now the situation, Auburn. Third down, they need 3.
It's third in a situation that Stan White, though, can still dial the run or the pass. He can throw short. In the past game, Stan has had only a few options in third and long passes. He's been throwing the ball downfield a little bit too much. Now he can throw it to anybody to pick up this first down. Should help his passing percentage tonight.
Victor Hall comes in at tight end. Auburn needs the 27. Blitz up the middle is incomplete at the 18-yard line, and it was Greg Taylor, the intended receiver.
Florida's blitzing 8 people this time. This is good protection for an 8-man blitz. Stan White just does not do a good job of getting the ball. He had an open man, underthrew the pass. Could have been a first down.
This is going to be an attempt of 47 yards for Von Weil. His longest on the year is 48, and he is kicking with an 80 win. That's Dickinson to hold. Has the distance, and he is to the left and no good. So it is Florida, who dodges the first bullet of the night. And they will take it over with good field position at their own 30.
It's just too early for Von Weil here. He can only make him in the last couple seconds of the game. That's when he's money all the time. This one just a little bit of a hook. And I'll tell you, you could see it went behind the crossbar right of the goal post, and it did not make it. Good call. Just kept hooking and hooking.
Mills open at the 45, and he is out of bounds at the Auburn 37. John Wiley defensively. That's good for 34.
Shane Matthews right here. When he has time to throw, he's got a great touch. He doesn't make a lot of bad decisions. Look, he feels confident. He's got Mills wide open. A corner route. Mills runs this route very well. They held the up coverage, and he put it right on stride.
Rush, and he is going to be tackled. That's Lamar Rogers. Didn't know how much we'd see him tonight because of injuries that he has been fighting off the last 3 weeks. But the senior from Alabama is up to the task, and it's a loss of 6. Second sack of the night.
Little play action pass. You got to get these linemen to take as much as you can. A little bit of an arm under right there. Tony Rowell is trying to, they're not going to call holding on that play. That's an underarm lock, and they're just going to allow that every time. Good job by Rowell.
Sets and throws. This one flies on him right into the arms of Mills again. It is good for the first down, plus 10.
Corey Barlow's going to have the coverage right here. Little play action pass again. And watch the adjustment to the ball on this. Mills runs and he adjusts upfield. Very tough catch. And Barlow's got the coverage, but he did not. He had to beat just enough, and he threw the ball to the sideline.
Fernando Horn, you saw number 77 with his hand in Matthews' face, but he got it away at the completion. First down at the Auburn 17. McClendon almost fumbled the ball for a moment, spins off a big hit. James Willis, who's a freshman from Huntsville, is the man who put the headgear on him. Let's take a look at the SEC standings. Auburn 3-0-1, followed by Ole Miss and Florida, and of course the Gators ineligible for the SEC championship. Then Tennessee at 3-1-1. And Ole Miss with a big game tonight down in the Bayou country. That's always a tough one for the Rebels when they travel to Baton Rouge. And in fact, Mr. Brando will be bringing us up to date on that ball game between LSU and Ole Miss and other action this evening. zips it to Terrence Barber. Complete, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 9.
You can see the game plan by Steve Spurrier. A little shorter drops, a little play action to keep that rush under control. He believes he can throw the ball on any defense. It doesn't matter as long as he has time. Matthews 6 for 6, 57 yards. Not a bad start. That'll get your confidence going.
Pretty doggone hot for the sophomore from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Third down Gators. They need the 6.5-yard line. They just got it. Marker goes down. A free play as McClendon turns the corner, steps out of bounds at the 4. Corey Barlow was there to hit him, but I believe that either contact was made or that Auburn had come across the neutral zone. Well, Pat Dye told us yesterday, as Gary mentioned in the opening, he may be as uncertain about this football team or exactly what kind of Tiger team he has, because he sincerely thinks if he could get a consistent 60 out of them, it'd be an awfully good football team.
It's hard to believe
errors like this have been plaguing him.
Hard to believe a coach of a top 5 team in the country is confused about his football team, but that's the standard that's been set at Auburn. They believe they had a team to win the national championship, and he's a little confused why they're not playing to the level he expects.
17 scores, 17 possessions from this field range. McNabb close to the goal line. They will stop him at the 1. It'll be second down and goal, Florida. Darrell Crawford and James Willis, the 2 inside backers, down in the bottom of the pile. Fernando Horn comes checking into the ball game at the last moment, replacing Lamar Rogers. Hit at the line of scrimmage, but he scores.
Watch, Ricky Sutton, number 92, is going to come around the short corner and put the hit on him, but he just extra efforts it, dives across the line, and it's 6-0 going for the extra point.
Arden Krzyzewski is 27 of 28 this year on extra points. So who strikes first? It is the Gators of Florida. We'll be right back. Scores first, 7-0. Let's go to Kevin Kiley down on the sideline. Kevin.
Rod, in 1976, Wes Chandler scored a touchdown in this end zone for Florida. He was a receiver, and the War Eagle bit him. It didn't happen this time. Back to you.
Well, right now, Herbert Casey is playing the part of the War Eagle as he tries to bite Florida, and he does for a 42-yard return as he takes it all the way back to the Florida 44-yard line.
One more look. Number 92 is coming off the corner. His only job is to get some penetration, but McNabb, extra effort. He keeps moving forward the whole time, gets into the end zone. Great running there.
8 plays, 70 yards. 225 they use. McNabb on the 1-yard run. But the Auburn Tigers right back with excellent field position. And Huey Richardson has just come back out on the field. Number 90. Reverse and hit in the backfield by Fee Bartley for a huge loss at the 44-yard line. And there was a flag back at the line of scrimmage. That's a loss of 14 if the play stands.
Holding, offense, penalty flag.
Fee Bartley, one of the outside linebacker to the weak side of the formation. Right here, he's blitzing. If it isn't Fee Bartley, watch him get his depth. Huey Richardson's going to make the tackle also. Good defense. Tonight, the game plan, penetrate, make something happen in the backfield for the Tigers.
Takes it away, and he has Casey wide open, and he will score. 56 yards.
Gives this 6 points to Herbert Casey. He also set it up, remember, with the great kickoff. Stan's coming back. He's looking over there. Busted coverage right here. Look at him hesitate. Just throws it. He's got a guy wide open. Casey can turn around, catch this ball. Del Spear, for some reason, came up. Del Spear playing for Jimmy Spencer. New this week. I played a little bit against Akron. But Casey with a big touchdown come back for Auburn.
Von Weil ties it at 7. With 2:29 left in his opening quarter. If Jimmy Spencer, who's the track star, very speedy, but had some problems there, so Florida decided to make a change.
Del Spear with such long yardage right then, he thought the ball was going to the underneath receiver. He committed too soon. Casey was by him. Great job of looking, great protection. Stan White stayed with the pattern, read it properly, and put the ball on the money. Didn't have to throw the ball 65 yards, just put it to him quick because he was wide open.
Florida had very good pressure on him as well, Gary, as you could see the hands up, particularly 54 Mark Murray. He waited for him to come down and then had presence of mind to wait and then get it away.
He really was calm in the pocket, and Stan, they believe so much in this kid. He's been confused in the past with coverages. They kept him off balance, but he can really play football. There you see him working with Pat Sullivan, his Heisman Trophy coach, quarterback coach. Stan can listen to that guy and go a long way.
So let's see what happens with Old Mo, as momentum was riding the blue jerseys with the orange headgears there after the 14-yard loss on the reverse, and Auburn comes right back, and his crowd all of a sudden is semi-quiet. It will come down to Monty Duncan from the 1. Duncan takes it back out across the 24 to the 25-yard line, where Alex Thomas is there on special teams. Shane Matthews, 6'2", 184 pounds, only a sophomore, had just guided his team to a touchdown, and in less than 30 seconds, Auburn puts it right back in their end zone. Short drop this time. Nails Terrence Barber, found the seam, and it has it complete for the first down at the 37. Stan Kunis is there defensively.
Shane Matthews getting time to throw again, no pressure, and with this pass offense, the number of options he has, it's like 7 on 7. You know, take the lineman out of it, any quarterback can put those yards up. He's going to throw if he's not pressure tonight.
Draw play to McClendon. Breaks off the one tackle as he turns the corner, and he will have another Florida first down. Larry Young and Darryl Crawford combined to the stop, but it's a gain of 13.
A little bit of a draw play. Remember, the idea is to keep the Auburn pass rush off balance. McClendon getting the start tonight, reads the hole to the outside. Now watch downfield, both wide receivers. There you see number 1, Terrence Barber. He's in the face. Listen, you don't have to knock anybody down as a wide receiver. Just get in his face and push.
Complete, ball is fumbled, and Auburn has recovered at the 28-yard line. Stan Kunis. I beg your pardon, Cunningham, number 47.
Well, this is a well-thrown ball, properly read, properly thrown. The back is going down the middle of the field against the deep double zone. They free him up. Perfect throw. Big hit, though. That's what you have to do when you're playing a passing team. Lay the hits on the guys after they do it. Number 29, Stan Kunis, got the credit for causing that fumble. And that's what Auburn has to do. They have not had the turnovers this year. They're even turnovers for the year.
White avoids the pressure, and he throws that one close to Pat Dye. It was Mike Brandon, number 97, who was right on his heels. White just threw it away. So Florida, the amazing thing, it had back-to-back first downs and then the fumble.
Well, that's so tough. You know, you do everything correctly. Here's Stan White again. He is really quick. 4.6 speed, and he avoids the rush, tosses one up. Let's tee it up again. It's 2nd and 10. You still got 2 downs to pick up the first down.
Richardson and also Jerry Odom, and it will be 3rd down Auburn, and they will be looking at about 12 yards to pick up the first down. Depends on where they spot it here.
I think you'll see some type of conservative call here right now, Ron. They're not going to let this game get out of hand early. There's nothing wrong with punting the ball. He's going to throw short. He's going to run a draw or a screen. He's not going to risk the interception.
4 wide receivers in the ball game for Auburn. White over the middle. It is intercepted by Grohl. And he is back to the 26.
Well, this is what happens when you play with fire like this. Anything can happen when you're throwing the ball over the middle. He's trying to get Herbert Casey down the middle. Throws it a little high. Interception. All of a sudden, the field is turned upside down on a pass that was read properly, thrown a little high.
13 interceptions for Florida this year. That's the first for Grohl.
As you can see, no backs in the backfield. They're all over the field.
Matthews rolls the pocket. He's going to hold on to it. And steps out of bounds, and wisely so, because James Willis was about to become a part of his parade. He'll miss the first down, but it's a gain of about 7 yards.
So far, the plays that Steve has been calling is to try to keep that Auburn defense off balance a little bit. And he's been successful. The pass rush has not been a factor. And if he can have time to throw, as we said before, he can have stats like 8 for 8 for 94 yards, which he is so far.
McClendon, big head of steam, and he is inside the 10. It is 1st and goal, Florida. Walter Tate is at the bottom of the pile.
Strict isolation play. Every high school has this play. The fullback leads. Dexter McNabb puts his hat on a linebacker. And what Willie McClendon tries to do is cut back. That first hole he sees to the back, he's going to cut back and slash up in there. Willie McClendon, a little bit bigger. Eric Barrett, 215 pounds. McClendon, 223. Sullivan went with McClendon.
Up, it's Lamar Rogers, who is back in the ballgame, the senior from Auburn. And with that, they are standing here at Florida Field. That is the end of the first period, and we're tied. Well, the first quarter numbers, the Auburn Tigers 79 yards, the Florida Gators 133. We are tied at 7, and the situation is a 2nd down and goal, Florida, as they have it at the Auburn 8. And you see Matthews asking his faithful to get quiet just a moment. Straight ahead with McNabb. He's going to be double, now triple teamed. Shea and Walter Tate combined on him, and now a 3rd down situation for Florida.
Looked like an audible that time. He saw weakness in the defense. Obviously, it might have been there, but the blocking wasn't. Tate and Shea just beat their men, and now he's got a situation where, you know, he's got to throw for the end zone if he wants to get the points on the board.
Kirkpatrick has been one of his favorite receivers in this kind of situation. 3rd and goal, quarterback draw. Matthews will take it to the 1-foot line. David Rocker saves the touchdown. Here's Steve Spurrier. What do you do here?
I think they're going to go for it. I don't think there's any doubt. No backs in the backfield. This is a quarterback draw on the goal line. He bumps into his center, Dixon, but he has enough presence to almost get in the goal line and set up the possibility of going for it on 4th down.
Number 5, McClendon, has checked into the backfield along with 21, Dexter McNabb, and the crowd will tell you if they get it or not. I don't think they have enough men.
Right.
Kirk Kirkpatrick, the senior tight end, turned around hollering at his quarterback and said, let's get one more. Auburn is tough enough with 11 guys. So Florida has to burn a timeout. We'll be right back. Danielson and Kevin Kiley, Florida Field in Gainesville. And there's the situation. Just under 14 to play until halftime. We're tied at 7, and the Florida Gators about a foot away. It is 4th down. Touchdown that's now 47 yards rushing in the early going by the Florida Gators. Arden Krzyzewski sends it right down Broadway.
Put yourself in Steve Spurrier's spot. 4th and inches. Last time to score, you went off tackle. This time you pitch it, you bounce it outside. Bromley comes around, and he just bounce it and walk into the end. It's a good read by McClendon on that play.
Eric Rett is the man who has been starting in that position. McClendon was named as the starter this evening and played a great deal in the last ball game against Akron, and he has just scored his 4th touchdown of the year. Jim Bates right there in the middle talking with Steve Spurrier, and of course he is the defensive coordinator for the Florida Gators.
Florida's done a nice job defensing Auburn so far, except for the mess up. That long play was just a busted coverage, a mistake in the secondary, and it cost them 7.
Are you surprised that Florida has moved on this very good Auburn defense this well early?
Not really. If they don't get pressure in the face of Shane Matthews, Steve Spurrier's offense will work against any defense. There's not a defense that will stand up to a pass offense. It's like a BYU pass offense or a Houston pass offense. They've got to get pressure in Matthews. He's not good at evading the pocket. They must start blitzing in place of man coverage.
Ryan Rulin, who wears number 19, will handle the kickoff rather than Krzyzewski for the Florida Gators. And this one will come down to Pedro Cherry, and Herbert Casey said, nope, go down on one knee. to 7 with 13:35 left until halftime. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going to Tim Brando, who will update us on not only the games going on this evening, but in case you have missed what has happened today, and a great deal has happened. Number 1 has fallen, and also the Nebraska Cornhuskers have fallen. Both of those teams losing at home. White runs into his running back, Darrell Williams, who had just come into the lineup, number 45. Tony Richardson had checked in at fullback, and Williams obviously, well, somebody went the wrong way. I shouldn't pin it on him.
On a 3-step drop, the tailback, Darrell Williams, is from the I-back position. He's coming a long way, and his angle was too shallow. He has to get out of the way of the quarterback in that case. A 3-step drop, the tailback's 8 yards deep. He must get out of the way of the quarterback.
Second down, Auburn. They need 14. This is Williams. Tries to turn the corner, and he does, but only for a couple as Mike Brandon is there defensively.
You know, we talked to Larry Blake, the offensive head, one of the calling the plays for offense. They do it by committee in reality. We liked Williams. We said, how come he's not playing more? He said the problem isn't when he has the football, it's when he doesn't. And there you saw the case on first down. He bumps into somebody, and now they're in a bad situation.
You also looked at Greg Taylor, the senior from Opelika, which is just outside of Auburn, coming in at wide receiver. Third down for the Tigers. They need 12. Has a man wide open, and it's Taylor, who we were just talking about, and they call it incomplete at the 44. Oh my goodness, he had him open, and again on the left side of that Florida secondary, the coverage had been beat.
This time it was 2 free safeties in the middle. The front corner, Spear just jams and lets him go. What happens? The ball is thrown obviously too wide, and let's see. Yep, his foot comes on the line. He's out of bounds. Big play. Stan White did a great job of looking off the secondary. The safeties moving into the middle, and then he had problems.
This has been a part of Florida's special teams that has been outstanding. And that is the blocking of punts, and he gets it away. That is a nice job. Terrence Barber, and of course with the punt block on, he is covered in white. As Auburn, very good on special teams themselves, is right there to stop him after a gain of only 3. So the storyline of this one so far, Matthews, the Florida quarterback, 8 of 8, 94 yards. Von Weil missed the 47-yarder. Average yards and first down to Auburn, 0.3. That is hard to believe. In Florida, 8.4. Casey, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Talk about a community who is extremely fired up about this ball game. On Thursday, Gary and I were at the workout, and it was a plane circling the field, pulling a banner saying, "Beat Auburn." That is complete to Terrence Barber at the 38-yard line. And let's go to Tim Brando for an update. Timmy.
Ron, in a game that means a great deal to the one you're watching, Ole Miss's Tom Luke to Derek Owens for 22 yards, sets up a 1-yard run by Randy Baldwin. It is 12-0 Ole Miss. They missed the first extra point, tried for 2 and failed on the second. If Florida beats Auburn, Ole Miss has its sights set on the sugar.
Okay, Timmy. There's a long time left out at Baton Rouge, as there is here in Gainesville. Matthews comes out from under, and obviously with an audible, has time with the 25 seconds. Sets it, going to go long, and he's got Mills open, just overthrows him at the 9. John Wiley was covering, but he was looking at him from 2 yards behind.
Nice read by Matthews there. He read the blitz. He was right. It was man-to-man coverage. Threw a good ball. Threw it just a little bit long. Hey, that's 9 for 10.
That's his first incompletion.
And that's the one that changes the scoreboard. You got to take some of those chances. You can't throw short all night. Nice read by Matthews that time.
Trey Everett comes into the lineup for Florida. A youngster who battled injuries early in the season. He's only a sophomore. He's from Washington and possesses some great speed to the outside. Matthews still running, and he is going to be sacked by Rocker. Boy, what an effort. As he saw Rocker coming, and it was like he was moving in slow motion.
Well, those athletes on the Auburn defensive line are just a little bit too much for Shane. He needs to get rid of it. But you know what, Ron? There was nobody really to get rid of the ball to. Good coverage in the secondary. Watch Red here take on the linebacker there. Good. He gives him a chance, but there's nobody to throw to, and Rocker's just going to chase him down and get the big sack. Pressure is number 1, but they got to have some coverage to allow the defensive line time to get the sack.
Third sack of this first half of the Auburn Tigers for minus 19. Matthews going to have to hurry. The 25-second clock down to 1. Got it away. Now he is going to scramble. Dumps it off. Terrence Barber was standing out of bounds. So it'll be 4th down. And Florida, who had a great situation after going on top 14-7, and the defense of Auburn steps up and bites them big. Arden Krzyzewski will come into punt. 2 times tonight for an average of just over 30 per kick. And you look at Wasden, who is the deep man. Shane, a junior out of Selma, Alabama. Auburn coming after Krzyzewski, gets knocked down, but a little acting job there, and that is going to go into the end zone. Arden is still down back at the 43, looking to see if they're bringing his award, or is he hurt? That's Eric Ramsey who ran into it. So Auburn will take it over at the 20.
Number 27, Eric Ramsey's going to come off the corner right here. It's a double block. He gets it. He runs across. Does he get him? He catches him with the knee.
11:05 left until halftime. Gators by 7. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Auburn at Florida, is brought to you by Volvo, the car that's famous for its safety, durability, and longevity. And by the First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. 11:05 left until halftime, and Auburn takes it over after a very good defensive stand. Florida had taken over good field position, and then they just closed the door. Quick inside give, and that's going to be Mark Murray stepping up and hitting James Joseph, the senior from Phoenix City. And he will have a gain of 1 out to around the 21-yard line. Gary, so far the run on first down has not been a real productive thing for him.
The one time they tried a short pass, they bumped into the tailback, and they got nothing out of that also. But first down has been a big problem for Auburn so far tonight.
Or rather Florida, they back off of it. White looks off the receiver over the middle. Jerry Odom with the interception, and Odom will be tackled at the 29. The second interception thrown by White in the first half.
This time White checks to a blitz, audible to the right side. No one's open. Then he tries to make something happen on a bad play. He tries to throw the ball down the middle, doesn't get enough out of it, right to Jerry Odom. Brad Culpepper, number 50, kind of got a hand on Stan White as he threw the ball, so give a little bit of a credit to Culpepper, but Jerry Odom, who had the bad knee when we saw him go out of the game against Tennessee, is back and gets the interception.
McClendon straight ahead, maybe a couple. That's Fernando Horn, number 77, along with Walter Tate defensively. Some of the players having to be separated by the officials down there as conversations, but nothing really serious.
Shane Matthews feels real comfortable right now. When you're riding a 9-for-10 wave, you feel like you can pick and pick and pick and do anything. He feels he can move the ball in the air. The running game is just positive after that. Anything after that is just a plus.
Auburn coming with the blitz. Matthews wanted Kirkpatrick. Now looks, delivers, and Mills has it complete at the 15-yard line. Pat Dye went down to take a closer look to see if he had come down in bounds.
Here's the blitz, right up the gap. And good job by number 21, Dexter McNabb, picking up the blitz. It bought time for Matthews to scramble out and make something out of nothing right there again. Mills, 3 catches now for 70 yards. And Mills did a great job of finding an opening and giving some place for Matthews to throw the ball on the sideline right there.
Mills, another of the seniors. He is out of Danella. Runs up into the pocket, drills it to McClendon. You could see him put his head down immediately. He knew he was going to get hit. Willis was there, also Darryl Crawford, to put him down for a short gain.
One of the trademarks in a good pass offense is being able to use your backs. That's what Spurrier wants Matthews to do, use his backs. McClendon is the third leading receiver on the team, but he'd like to set up a pressure point with him.
You know, the other point that Steve Spurrier made yesterday was not only did he want to throw to his backs more, but he said, don't be surprised when the wide receivers get more action this week.
He felt he could suck them up by throwing short early, and there'd be some holes in behind him.
Matthews is 11 of 13. Draw play to McNabb. Gets a paving block from McClendon. It is first and goal, Florida.
Really is pretty when you're able to throw short and keep everybody off balance. The Auburn defense just really doesn't know where to swing at. It's a draw, it's a screen, it's a pass. This time, number 5, Willie McClendon, gets in there and causes a little bit of blocking, and then McNabb runs up and gets the positive yards. Those are big yards to stand into the zone right there.
Because of balance and second effort, he picked up that first down. Florida from just inside the 5. belted by Rocker at the line of scrimmage. He will fight forward for maybe a yard as Tate comes over the top. Well, Rocker was right there. You could see his head go back as he put the headgear on him. They got to spot it down just inside the 4-yard line. It will be second down Gators. They lead it 14-7 as we're about to go under 8 minutes to play until halftime. McClendon now 10 carries, 43 yards, and he has a touchdown. This time rolls the pocket under pressure, and he's going to be sacked the 4th time tonight by Auburn. And it's Reggie Barlow who is there, the junior from Albany, Georgia.
Shane Matthews, second down right here. This is the time when you don't want to get the sack. Get it in there. If your first guy's not open, let's get rid of it. Spurrier's bringing him out of the pocket. That's why he doesn't want the sack. But Barlow comes around and forces Matthews in, and then he's just not quick enough to get away from Barlow. Outside linebackers providing some sacks. That's what they needed tonight.
Third down and goal. Kirkpatrick over the middle, touchdown. A flag is down. There was contact as Kirkpatrick made his move, and from the reaction of one of the offensive linemen, it may be offensive pass interference. It is. I'll be anxious to see the replay because I happened to watch Kirkpatrick all the way. There was contact, no doubt about it.
2 deep zone. The free safeties are playing on the hashes. The proper read is go to the middle.
Pass interference. Offense. Lock it down.
Matthews throws a strike to Kirkpatrick, and they call Kirk for pushing off on Alex Thomas, number 24. You can see how upset he is. We've got him isolated. He comes inside. He gives him a little head move. Oh, there's nowhere to go right there. How was that offensive interference right there? Good job by defense, good job by offense. Could have been a no call in that situation.
Swim move, but the offensive pass interference is called, and Krzyzewski trying to get his 10th field goal of the year. This will be a 42-yard attempt. As the distance, and he's good.
Well, Ron, I don't think there's any doubt that the Tigers got away with one right there. That was not offensive pass interference, and now they're only down by 10 points, so a little bit of a break. But Matthews is just so hot with that football tonight. I mean, he's hitting everybody in stride.
17-7. Florida goes on top. NFL Game Day coming up tomorrow, noon Eastern time. That will get you started on what's going to be happening in the National Football League. And then back with Chris Berman and the boys at 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night on NFL Primetime. All tomorrow right here on ESPN. And then on November the 11th, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the world champion San Francisco 49ers are in Dallas, Texas to take on the Cowboys. Right now, the Gator up by 10. Of course, we have seen Pat Dye's ball club down by 10 and by more this year.
Be careful. Auburn's got you right about where he wants you right now.
Cheerleaders hope that Florida doesn't score too much because they have to duplicate in push-ups. Pedro Cherry from the 3. Oh, what a hit as he comes across the 20-yard line. And let's go back to Tim Brando.
On to Death Valley in Baton Rouge, Ron Franklin. Chad Loop with a little chicanery. And Harvey Williams off his back foot. Good arm, Harv. He finds Marcus Carter 43 yards for the strike. Remember those extra points that have been blown by the Rebels. It's 12-7, Mississippi.
Talk about them being blown. Wait till these goalposts come in almost 6 feet next year, Timmy. We may have a lot of extra points that are blown. Straight ahead, gets whacked hard by Brad Culpepper. He's a junior from Tallahassee. Culpepper, number 50, and Murray, number 54, on the defensive front. Probably two guys that don't get a lot of attention, but they are extremely consistent.
Culpepper finds a way to get his hand on any ball carrier going through the middle. He's just a real gutsy, rough type player. We've seen him all year make plays in the backfield. Huey Richardson, though, I got to really signify that he's having a great game. His back is bothering him, and he's in there lining up right so far.
Fake the pitch. White throws it complete. Victor Hall maintains his balance and is close to the first down. Boy, he got blitzed and still didn't get knocked down and almost had the first down.
Stan White, welcome to the SEC. I know you're just a redshirt freshman, but meet Godfrey Miles. They call him the Gator back. A naked reverse right here. Oh, man, right in the stomach. He did get it off nice. Right, put right on the money.
Richard
to Victor Hall, and that was a nice make it.
Fane probably has seen it. How hard do I have to hit it? Third and about a foot. I don't know. Tony Richardson knocked down very close to the line of scrimmage, and we'll see from across the way to where the line judge has put his foot down. Tony's the freshman from Daleville. Florida is saying from where it's been spotted that they're not going to have the first down, and they're going to bring the chains in.
Godfrey Miles again came from the outside and got him before he could get started. Oh, big play. Miles, number 98, and Timmy Polk, number 99. The two high school teammates make the play and stop them and force Auburn to punt. Here we go. Here goes again the Auburn punt team and the Florida punt return.
Florida, as we mentioned, has blocked 4 punts this year. In fact, this team that is on the field right now, the punt defend team, or punt block team, is accounted for setting up 35 points. Auburn has worked hard on it this week, and I'll tell you what, it has paid off. Barber all the way back to the 17-yard line, and he's not going to have much until he reverses field. And he may go all the way. Terrence Barber, does he have enough speed?
Think about this now. Florida went for the block, so Barber's down there by himself. He has no blockers until he makes about 5 people miss. When he reverses his field, he gets a couple stragglers to come up and help. There's Fane, number 28, helping. Another cutback, and it's not really steam right here. Alex Thomas catches him, number 24, because he's out of gas.
You know what? Alex Thomas is the man who missed him way back inside the 30-yard line, so he had to do something.
Well, no matter how much he gained there, he went for about a 200-yard jog right that time because he went back and forth across the field twice.
52 yards, 77 yards on the return. Throws it to Kirkpatrick. Out of bounds at the 3.
You just have to sit and marvel at Steve Spurrier's offense tonight. He has kept the Tigers off balance. They really don't know where the next punch is coming from. The throws have been relatively simple, and Matthews has delivered.
Second down and goal. Florida with the football just inside the Auburn 4-yard line. As number 47, Kerrigan Cunningham, the sophomore from Peachtree City, Georgia, checks in at one of the inside linebacking spots. Willie McClendon looks for a block, gets it, he scores.
All night, but let's salute this offensive line. Kirkpatrick also blocks as well as catches. Right tackle Tony Rowell, right guard Chris Bromley, and McClendon just reads it, pops up in there. Same play they scored last time. This time he takes it up inside Larry Young, the outside linebacker. It's a walk-in again.
Krzyzewski. True again. Let's take a break. 5:07 left until halftime. Gators by 17.
Pizza Hut presents the $4 pizza deal.
We get one pizza.
Regular price.
The 4 more pizzas are each?
$4.
What about a Supreme?
Regular price.
And a pepperoni lovers?
$4.
5 Super Supremes.
Regular price, $4, $4, $4, $4.
First pizza regular price up to 4 more, just $4 each.
Okay, how about a meat lovers, 2 pepperoni lovers, a Ferrari, and a sausage pizza?
Regular price, $4, $4, $145,580, $4.
You better hurry. This offer ends Sunday.
You live in Orange County, you live in traffic created by 13 million tourists a year. They pay a 4% resort tax, but not 1 penny of that tax pays for county roads. I'm Tom Drage, candidate for chairman, and I want at least $50 million a year from the resort tax to improve county roads. County commissioners fear that Disney and the other attractions will be offended if we ask the tourists to pay their fair share. I believe the residents will be outraged if we don't.
11th on ESPN Sunday Night NFL. The San Francisco 49ers face the Dallas Cowboys. The San Francisco 49ers, the world champions, drive toward their 3rd consecutive title, led by perhaps the most awesome offense ever. The Dallas Cowboys have upset on their mind as they strive to regain the title of America's team. The 49ers face the Cowboys coming November 11th at 8 Eastern, live on ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
Rocker and Tate of that defensive unit of the Auburn Tigers getting a breather. A little happier on the other side of the field because the Florida Gators have scored on 4 of their last 6 drives and now lead at 24-7 over the 5th-ranked Auburn Tigers. Pedro Cherry from the 1. Runs up into the stack and is down at the 25. And let's go back and look at the touchdown again.
We talked about Kirk Kirkpatrick, the leading receiver on this ball club. Remember, John Wiley has a man-for-man, but Kirkpatrick works hard. He's working his feet, and he pushes Wiley into the end zone to enable the walk-in. Watch number 5, McClendon. He gets a block from his partner, Dexter McNabb, number 21 on Larry Young, the outside linebacker. Last time he went outside, this time he cuts up inside. Same play, same result, different area. That's all.
5:01 left to play until halftime. James Joseph is the lone setback, and Auburn looking for some points before halftime. White under pressure, and he is going to be tackled by Mike Brandon. Let's go back to Tim Brando.
It's been a crazy year in the Pac-10. The California Bears are much improved. Watch Pulowski with the throwback from Russell White. It's a touchdown for the QB as he gets in to make it 24-10. Since then, a 77-yard strike from Marinovich to Johnny Morton. It is 24-17 Cal with just over 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, Rod.
Timmy, you know, they took that page from USC's book. Didn't they score on that 2 weeks ago? I think they did. Our situation, Gators 24 and the Tigers 7. Clock is running now with 4 minutes and 20 seconds until halftime. 2nd down and 10. White, as a marker goes down, has it complete for the first down to Dale Overton. And now let's see what the flag, and now a 3rd flag comes down from well downfield.
When Dale Overton came on the field, Ron, I don't believe he covered the tackle. I think it was an illegal formation when he came in, and then I don't know what the end of it was, some kind of roughing penalty. But I don't know if they had an illegal formation.
Well, it would suggest something of that kind because the 2 flags that came down initially, both at the line of scrimmage, and then the other one is thrown 10 yards down.
I don't think they had enough men on the line of scrimmage to begin with.
Six men on the line. Offense. Face mask. Defense. Replay to down.
Ron Gilbert, our referee tonight. Jim Bates, he going to sleep? I don't think so. That's the call, but I'd love to know what that means.
It's one of the plays right there. There you see Fee Bartley right there grabbing the face mask. He really doesn't have a hold of the face mask. It's more in between. He's got a hold of his eyeball and his nose and everything else.
What Ephesians was saying was Fee 5-4.
I was ready for that one.
Quick out, and it is complete to Taylor. Pushed back and out of bounds, and let's go down to the sideline of Kevin Kiley.
A big part of the success of this Florida team on the field is the crowd. This is the Auburn bench, and not 8 feet behind them, part of the 74,000 Gator fans stuffed into a 72,000-seat stadium. The Auburn players and the fans been shouting back and forth. Ice has been thrown. They're really working on this Auburn team. Back to you, Ron.
Pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. And it is going to be 4th down for the Auburn Tigers. Is that one? And now a couple of late shoves come in. And the crowd, I think it's Mike Brandon, yeah. Number 97 who got a hand up. Richie Nell into punt for the Auburn Tigers.
Crowd so close like a hockey arena here. Throwing ice on everybody.
Pressure coming up the middle. He got it away again. Nell has done a nice job with some extreme pressure. This is Monty Duncan, and Duncan covered well at the 33-yard line by Auburn. On the special teams, that time it was Dennis Wright who got downfield to cover that 39-yard punt, and only 4 on the return.
Here you go to see the Florida punt rush again. He's got to get it away quick. He does. Puts it up high. And you can see Florida's not committing anybody on the return. Same as last time when Barber took it all that way and ran it back and put another 6 points on the board for Florida.
Pat Sullivan and his quarterback, Stan White. Matthews this time at a draw play. It's Kevin Randolph, I beg your pardon, who takes it across the 45, and John Wiley, the free safety, is there to stop Kelvin, but it's a gain of about 12 in the play. Boy, Florida has really kept Auburn off balance in this first half of play.
I think that's been the story of the game so far. Auburn's ready to get up there and fight and get in your face and hit, but they don't know what they're swinging at. They just kept them off balance the whole game.
Randolph and Rett, the 2 setbacks for the Gators this time. Over the middle, Kirkpatrick at the Auburn 40-yard line. It was Dennis Wallace who knocked him off his feet, but it's a gain of 14. Chains will move, and it is about to go under 3 minutes until halftime.
Same pass, little play-action pass. Kirkpatrick finds the middle of that deep zone. Put on the money again by Matthews. Matthews has been just outstanding, delivering the ball not only on target, but on time, getting it to him at the proper time all night tonight.
Florida first down inside the 30-yard line as Barlow had to come up and make the stop on Rett. Florida goes run, then pass, and now back to run.
There you see it. This time it's going to go right up the middle. Cal Dixon, the center, just rides out Richard Shea, number 93, and Rett reads it, and he's into the secondary. That's just too easy right there.
2 minutes and 30 seconds left until halftime. Gators with a first down just inside the Auburn 30. Going to go long. Incomplete. That one overthrown. Trey Everett with the intended receiver, and he was open, but it was just about 5 yards over his head. USF&G halftime report. Tim Brando and Lee Corso. Scores and highlights. Virginia, Nebraska, and Illinois all upset today.
We got one going right here so far, too, 24-7. I'll tell you, there's going to be teams that didn't even think they were going to a bowl game going to be in the top 10 here pretty soon.
12 of 15 for 142 yards for Shane Matthews in this first half. Draw play with Rett. Breaks it clean. Touchdown Gators. This close to 74,000 really whooping it up now as it goes to 30-7 with the extra point attempt coming now from Arden Krzyzewski.
Well, you know, Ron, how some teams, the old theory used to be set up the pass with the run. Florida has set up the run with the pass tonight. It's the draw play again. Redshirt freshman Eric Rett reads it, bounces out into the secondary, and number 9, John Wiley, misses the tackle in the open field, and Rett regains his balance. It's a race to the end zone, and he's in there. This is shocking score, 31-7. One more time from the end zone. You can see it. He gets it deep. Really, no one's fooled this time, but nice block by number 77, Ishmael, right there. Springs him. Wiley can't make the tackle, and Rett, the leading rusher so far for Florida this season, gets into the end zone.
Well, if you've just walked in your home and turned on the television, it is Florida 31 and number 5 ranked Auburn Tigers 7. We still have 2:10 left to play until halftime as Pat Sullivan stands next to his head coach, and the wheels are turning. Pat Dye knows that he still has another 30 to play in the second half and 2:10 to play here. But the Auburn Tigers, who have played on the edge, as we talked about at the top of the telecast so many times, are digging themselves a pretty deep hole right now. Cherry from the 5. He'll take it to the 26, maybe the 27-yard line. And Auburn with plenty of working time here, Gary, with 2:02.
I know what they don't want to do. They don't want to punt again. They just would like to get into halftime and regroup right now. They do have time, though. I'd like to see them go no huddle. Every possession right now, they're going to have to put something on the board. When you're down 31-7, every possession like a 2-minute situation.
Stacy Danley will be the lone setback. White hit as he throws the ball. That's Mike Brandon, who batted the ball down on the last series, who was there applying pressure.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun when you're winning 31-7. Mike Brandon, he was like shot at that time. He knew the snap count, knew the play, and was in the backfield as fast as Stan White was that time.
White sets the screen, incomplete. I'm not so sure that wasn't tipped by 54 Murray or Brandon, one of the two. Both were in as the offensive lineman lets you through to set up the screen pass, but I'm not so sure somebody didn't tip it.
Well, I think that they need to hold a little bit longer than that. You know, it's 1001, 1002, let them go. Not what, let them go. You got to at least count the 2 first.
Joseph checks into the lineup. Ed King is going out. I assume another offensive lineman came into the ball game. The thing that Auburn is in danger of here with the incomplete passes, there's still a minute 52 left until halftime. They'll give it back if they don't get the first down.
Steve won't have mercy. He'll attack again.
White turns around, looks up, and the 25-second clock shows 0. And now the officials are conferring to see why there was no time up there coming down. Because in the incomplete pass, and Auburn didn't use that much time.
They never reset the clock.
They never reset it. You're right. Now it has been reset and is running. That's the 25-second clock. White going long, has Taylor open, and the first down at the 45-yard line.
Come on, up to the line. Come on, let's get up there. Let's get at least a field goal out of this thing.
Third down, Auburn.
Big play by Auburn to convert on the 3rd down and 10. The pocket after the play action, throws it incomplete. Fain was covering, and I'm not so sure from where it was thrown, even if he had caught it, he couldn't have come down in bounds.
Nice job by Fain that time. Same play that Taylor ran the play before, a little play action pass, and he was going to cross when he caught it. This time he faked the cross and went to the sideline. Fain did not bite. He was there to make the play. Into this win run, they're also going to have to get that ball down near the 20-yard line to pick a field goal. This is a very strong win they're throwing into.
yards passing for Auburn in the first half and 8 rushing yards. That's it here. And a timeout has been called by the Auburn Tigers. 1:27 left until halftime. It is the Gators by 24. 31-7. The Florida Gators leading the Auburn Tigers. It is a 2nd down and 10 with Auburn with the ball at the 45, their own 45. White trying to get away from Culpepper. He does. Throws it complete. This is Overton, and he will have a gain of a couple as Steve Bartley is there to make the stop. The student of the game is brought to you by the U.S. Army. Be all you can be. And our student of the game is Brad Culpepper of the Florida Gators, history major with a GPA of 3.2. Congratulations to him. The number 50 that we have talked about frequently in this first half. White's pass complete again to Overton, and he will not get out of bounds. Just shy of the first down marker. That's James Spear, number 95, who was there to make the hit.
Or he tried to gamble a little bit and tried to make the Spear miss and double back, but he got hurt right there by not getting out of bounds, and the clock is still running. 42 seconds to go. Obviously, Auburn going without the huddle.
White's pass incomplete, or did Taylor hold on to it? Yes, he did. He looked as though he was, or did he drop it?
Looked like he dropped it to me.
The linesman from the near side said complete. Odom made the hit.
Well, Taylor had the first down. That's all they were trying to pick up. This was a 4th down play. White hits him right in the face with it. But watch Taylor. He tries to pick up some more. He doesn't stay with it long enough. He could have held it. But when Odom comes in, that causes the ball to drop. It's an incomplete pass. Hey, 29 seconds to go. They got the win. They might get another field goal out of this.
Shane Matthews hurries to the line of scrimmage. The clock shows 29 ticks left. He's 12 of 15, 142 yards. Sets the screen. Dexter McNabb. And he cuts outside of his blockers and is going to be tackled at the 46 as Larry Young is there to play it very smartly defensively. Matthews will call a timeout with just that much time left until halftime. McNabb had 2 blockers out there.
He got a little too cute, didn't he? He faked out his own blockers together. He's trying to block. And that's one of the things when you are running on the street. You just want to get north-south and let those linemen block those guys, because every time you fake, the defensive guy moves also. 14 seconds to go. They still have an opportunity there with the win. They have an opportunity to kick this field goal with the win, so they can still put more points on the board. And Auburn's in shock already. If they put some more on the board, it's really going to be something.
Well, in total yardage, 4 first downs for the Auburn Tigers in the first half. 8 rushing yards, 111 yards passing. And for the Florida Gators, 14 first downs. They have 245 yards total offense. Coming up at halftime, the USF&G halftime report. Tim Brando and Lee Corso. What a day it has been. Virginia has fallen. Nebraska has fallen. And Illinois has fallen.
And we got one in free fall right now. We're watching.
Over the middle, Kirkpatrick at the 25-yard line. Clock is running to 7 seconds, and they stop it with their final timeout.
You know, as a quarterback throwing the ball in the pro game, you just sit and marvel up here at how good and how well coached this team is. Kirkpatrick is going to run this route off number 56, Gerald Crawford. Just as he passes, the ball's on the way. The timing is just outstanding.
You know, and the point that you make, and particularly being a quarterback for as long as you were, that is so important.
Well, he throws that ball before Kirkpatrick gets to the hole, and that's what you have to do, is have that feel. When he hits those passes early in the game, you could just see it all over. The way he walked, the way he was in the huddle, he just felt that, hey, this is my night.
Also takes a lot of fortitude to deliver it a little early over the middle, doesn't it?
Well, when you got some in the bank, when you're already 15 for 16, you know, you can just let them fly.
Krzyzewski to attempt a 42-yard field goal. Gators lead 31-7. the distance, and as you could see him jump for joy, it is good. And with that, the clock is on double zeros. It is halftime at Florida Field in Gainesville.
Ron, this is the type of game when you're a team like Auburn visiting. They've only played 2 road games this year. This is the 3rd, and never in a setting like this, 70-some thousand people cheering. The other team is in a groove, and you're just trying to find a way to stop the blood or bleeding right now.
The Florida Gators, 34, and the Auburn Tigers, who are ranked number 5 in the nation, 7. Tim and Lee will be coming on, but right now, let's pause for this break. Well, we're just about set to get the second half underway. Ryan Ruland will kick it off for the Florida Gators, as the Auburn Tigers had won the toss tonight and deferred to the second half. And of course, Auburn, elementary to say, but they got to get something going, so they want to get their hands on the football. This is going to come down to Casey from the 10 to start the second half. First half stats, and this tells much of the story as far as Florida having their own way. Auburn with only 4 first downs, and look 4 lines down. Rushing yardage, only 8 yards. 111 yards passing, as they are 8 of 18. White has been picked off a couple of times. And as far as Florida is concerned, 169 yards passing and 96 on the ground. White over the middle, almost intercepted. That's Will White, who has 6 interceptions on the year, almost got his 7th.
There you see it. One guy's on a hot roll. He got off the mark, Matthews, threw for 169 yards. White struggled, had a couple interceptions. The edge, obviously, tonight goes to Matthews. Put 34 points on the board.
White waits until the last moment, throws it high, incomplete. Casey was the closest man to it, number 20.
Will.
So it'll be 3rd down for Auburn. 3rd down and 10. Florida 265 first half yards. The Auburn Tigers barely over 100. Here comes the pressure from the outside, gets it away, and I mean White just got leveled by P. Bartley. And White is flat of his back at the 7-yard line. Stan has not moved since he was hit.
Stan got rid of the ball right here, but P. Bartley never broke stride. Nobody touched him. He comes off the corner. Not enough guys to pick it. Somebody should be hot, and he catches him as he unloads it, drives him into the ground. That's when it hurts, when they drive you into the ground. They never let up. You can see Bartley, he comes, he never breaks strides. Catch him with a perfect legal tackle. That's what pressure can do.
Stan's still being attended to. He wears the flak jacket.
Yeah, he needed more than a flak jacket. He needed a bulletproof vest on that one. His speed was just coming.
You have to understand also that White weighs close to 200 pounds, and Bartley, with the force that he came and hit him with, he picked him up like a piece of paper and slammed him into the ground.
One of the tough things is there you see, he comes off the corner. He's on Taylor, and he just comes off. The linebackers in this 4-4 defense, sometimes they're safeties, sometimes they're corners, sometimes they're rushing as linebackers. Fee Bartley and Godfrey Miles do a great job of playing both the secondary and blitzing the quarterback.
Gary, it also looked as though that the pressure of the hit might have come down on his right shoulder.
It might have been the right shoulder. It might have been that he just didn't have any breath. It feels like, you know, anybody that's played sports before, you know, when you get the breath knocked out of you, it feels like you're dying out there. Even if you've done it before, you feel like you're dying.
Trying to get the breath, and it just won't come. That's right. Number 1, Richie Nell. stands to punt back at the 6-yard line as 3 straight passes go awry. And Nell, hanging this spiral, is not going to turn over. And Terrence Garber hit immediately. Good coverage downfield on a short kick. And Florida will have it at the 44-yard line. That's Alex Thomas on the hit.
Great job by Barber there, though, like just catching the ball. You don't know where that's going to bounce. He comes up, makes the catch, and maybe saves 15 yards just by making the catch. Every time. Florida goes for the punt block every time, so you're back there by yourself.
Boy, on Thursday, we'll talk more about it as the special teams come on again, but they work individually on blocking punts, and they do it for a lengthy time every Thursday. McClendon with McNabb in front, going to cut it underneath, and Tate. Oh, my goodness. Big Walter Tate is there to send him backwards. That's going to be a loss of a couple of yards in the play. Let's go down to Kevin Kiley and get this update in quarterback Stan White.
Ron, Stan was hit in the middle of his stomach there when he was hit on the pass rush. He seemed to be all right. They worked on his rib cage. He was breathing fine when he left the field, and I'm sure he'll be back in the game.
Second down, it is almost intercepted. That was Eric Ramsey who had cut in front. Barber was the intended receiver at the 28, and probably one of the worst passes that Matthews has thrown tonight.
Well, Barber actually overran the hole a little bit too, Ron. The hole was there, and one receiver went to the flat. Barber was going to curl, and he just kind of overran it. The ball was on the way. Matthews feels so confident in his passing game right now. When he sees the hole, he's throwing it where he thinks the receiver is going to be. That's why they're so tough to stop.
13 minutes, 48 seconds left to play. Early going in this third period. 34-7. Florida leads. Matthews incomplete over the middle. Kirkpatrick, the intended receiver. If Kirkpatrick wants a flag on Alex Thomas, he thought that he might have been gripping him around the waist. No call.
Auburn's in their nickel defense. They're going to play a lot of man-to-man off this. Kirkpatrick stays in the game. A little man-to-man route. He gets inside, a little pressure release. You can see Thomas kind of grab Kirkpatrick's left arm. That's what Kirk was complaining about, and that threw off the timing in the pass. Thomas gets away with it. Good job.
Was the deep man as you look at Arden Krzyzewski, junior from Tampa, Florida. And they're coming after him. Gets his kick away with a win. Will go into the end zone. Very close to taking the Florida bounce, but touchback has been called. So let's take a look at the top 10. This has been a topsy-turvy day. We know that 3 of the elite have fallen. Virginia losing to Georgia Tech. Notre Dame was victorious. Nebraska lost at home. Auburn trailing big right now. Illinois was defeated by Iowa. Houston has defeated TCU. Washington won over Arizona. Miami defeated Pittsburgh. Colorado with a win. And BYU, big win over Air Force. Frank McIntosh has the ball batted at the line of scrimmage at number 90. Huey Richardson got a hand up and batted the ball down.
A little bit of hue from the crowd. Frank McIntosh, the senior, who was Reggie Slack's backup for the last few years, is now going to get a chance to play. He competed very hard this spring, trying to win this starting job. There you see his stats in his career. Not the type of situation you'd like to play in, but he's going to get a chance to throw the ball on the good side also.
Blitz coming from Odom in the middle. Pass incomplete as McIntosh had blue jerseys all over him, and Tim Paul, number 99, the junior from Miami, is there to pressure.
Coming in as a backup in this situation, I mean, I've had it happen to me. You come into a game that's practically out of hand unless you can put some points on the board early. What you got to do is not try to score on every play. Just be relaxed, read it out the way you're supposed to, try to move the chains, get into the rhythm of the football game first.
Auburn 1 of 9 on third down conversions. They need the 30. McIntosh hit, and he is sacked by Ed Robinson. It's a loss of 10. And again, keep an eye on the Florida special teams as Richie Nell will have to kick from 5 yards deep in his own end zone.
The Florida defense is showing no mercy. You can see Jerry Odom's on the rush. 7 men are coming, and the freshman Ed Robinson gets him and throws him down.
Nell, beautiful kick into the wind. Barber from the 44. Terrence will be pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 12:41 left in the third. Gators by 27. College Football Saturday, Auburn and Florida, is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one Jeep. And by Levi's, 505 and 506 jeans. Ron Franklin, Gary Danielson, and Kevin Kiley from Florida Field in Gainesville, Florida. It is 34-7. The Gators on top. In the first half, pass distribution, wide receivers caught 7, running backs 3, the tight end Kirkpatrick had 4, and of course the quarterback caught 1 when the ball was headed back to him.
Minus 8 or 9.
This is McNabb. Gets to the outside, spins off Jason Merchant's tackle, and he will take it to the 42-yard line.
McNabb on the carry.
Florida knows the feeling in reverse just 3 weeks ago up at Tennessee as far as what can happen in one half of football. And that is what happened to the Auburn Tigers in the first 30 minutes.
The only thing in this game, though, for Auburn, they've just been soundly beaten on offense and defense. You know, you could point the last time a kickoff return, some things happened. But this time, it's just been every phase of the game they've been dominated.
That is Kirkpatrick diving for it at the 25. Corey Barlow, closest man to it on the cover. And of course, as if everything else didn't go wrong with offense and defense of the special teams, the 77-yard return.
On a time when, like Pat Dye said, they were going for the block. Here you see Kirkpatrick again. He squares up his man. The ball's just a little wide, and he almost comes up with it, the one-handed, left-handed try. Kirkpatrick is so sound in his routes. I don't think he's overly fast or overly strong, but he runs them properly, the proper depth, and he straightens up every time and makes sharp cuts.
Auburn with pressure from the outside and has it complete to Eric Rett. And he has the Florida first down as Cunningham finally trips him up at the 26. That's good for 16 yards.
The blitz comes from the outside, and Matthews gets it off to his back. Riley quickly. Cunningham, though, does not keep proper leverage. He gets beat outside, a play where they should have just thrown the short pass and made the tackle. Rett turns into a big gainer. Cunningham with not the proper angle on a very simple pass. It's hard to get beat by that much on a 2-yard pass.
Stan Kunis was the man who was coming with the blitz as McNabb and Rett come in as the setbacks for the Gators. Rett, no place to go, pops it to the outside and winds up with about 3 yards. Merchant again, number 96. He's a freshman from Centronel, Alabama. Got to be second down at about 6 yards for the Florida Gators.
And there's a play again on the draw play, which has become a staple tonight for them. They must have run that play 6-8 times tonight. Could have been stopped in the backfield, and they get positive yards out of a bad play.
Gary, the chains are hung up on the far side of the field and had not moved in time. The down marker had moved, and now they're just now getting it untangled from that cord across the way.
The chain crew is going to need a break if they keep putting up more and more first downs.
Florida now with 289 total yards. McNabb. Merchant, number 96, reached up and grabbed him on an ankle and will keep him short of the first down by a couple as they're going to mark it around the 18.
Well, Merchants came in and made the most of his opportunity. We must have called his name 4 times already. There's going to be a lot of guys seeing some playing time tonight. If they don't put some points on the board, they've got to have a stop here. It's still possible to put some touchdowns on the board. They could get 3 touchdowns, go for 2 each time, and still get back in this game. Tigers got to get a stop.
Will McClendon, who has had a big night, comes in at one of the running First down and about 4 more. John Wiley holding on for dear life, and the Gators can do no wrong. David Rocker also helping out on the stop.
Well, you've got to credit the offensive line here. Dixon, Bromley, Rowell, they just keep their legs moving, and they're going to push and push and push. And what happens when McClendon gets the ball, he just keeps moving with his legs, spinning, turning. Very similar to the time he scored the touchdown on. He's falling forward, turning and spinning, and keeps the feet going.
He really had not been the starter. He'd been playing behind Rhett, who was the leading rusher. And his return as a starter has been kind of a rebirth for him.
Yeah, he just looks like he is a little better north-south runner. And against this hard-hitting Auburn defense, that's his story Steve wanted to go to. But Rhett has made some nice plays tonight also, the redshirt freshman. James
Willis makes the stop, and at that time, it's good for a gain of a couple. Probably the thing that has been the most pleasant surprise for Steve Spurrier tonight is when we talked yesterday, he said, we've got to find out early if we can pass block and also run block at all against Auburn.
Well, running a little bit. I mean, they don't have to put 250 yards rushing on the board, but it sets up their play-action pass game so nicely. A passing team must have the changeup of the run available to them.
Willa McClendon to the right side. Wiley on the tackle. I don't believe he has the first down. It looks like it's going to be 3rd down and 1.
When things are going well, just any play you dial, I tell you what, Steve doesn't have to be a genius right now. I'll give him all the credit in the world. He's got an offense that keeps him off balance. But right now, anything he dials is working right now.
Well, now actually they have put it a couple of yards away. It's down at the 4. To pick up the first down, the Florida Gators need to go to the Auburn 2-yard line. McClendon on the pitch. Same play he scored on earlier, and this time Auburn is there defensively. Eric Ramsey and also number 51, James Willis, pushing him out of bounds. It'll be 4th down and just over a yard to pick up the first.
You got to believe he feels hot. Everything he's tried so far has worked. You can see him signaling in the play this time. He's got the unit.
Eric Rett headed on the field, now has been called back. Greg Keller was going to come off, the second tight end, and they have left him on the field. And now Matthews looking back, and he's not satisfied, so he calls a Florida timeout.
They only had 10 guys out there again.
8:05 left in the 3rd period, and Florida uses a timeout. Florida, Ron Franklin, Gary Danielson, and Kevin Kiley. 8:05 left in the 3rd period. 34-7 in the Gators with a 4th down, just over a yard at the 3. McNabb spins off a tackler, and he is very close in the vicinity of the 2-yard line. Walter Tate and James Willis combined the stop, but Gary, from where they have come in from this side of the field, I would think that he has it, and just barely.
He has to cross the 2-yard line. It looks like the first down marker is just inside the 2 until they unpile here. Well, that's going to be close.
Well, I don't think he got. Marked, I don't know.
I don't think he got a very good spot. I thought he was a little bit farther ahead, and that's sometimes when you run the ball inside there, it's tough to get that ball spotted exactly. It's going to be real close.
Florida defense is lining up on the near side. First down, Florida.
When you're hot, huh? You know it's close when after they measure, the guys are still arguing whether it's a first down or not. Here you see him bouncing around. It looks like he's leaned forward a lot more than just that 2-yard line. When he gets shoved back, doesn't make any difference. They're going to get the first down call anyway. 1st and goal from inside the 2.
First and goal, Florida. Willa McClendon on the pitch. Chalk up another.
Well, this is the third time they've scored on this play alone, Ron. I think when he gets in the huddle right now, Matthews says T formation, touchdown play to the right, and everybody knows what to do because they're just pounding it in there. Kirkpatrick, again, because they throw on the goal line, Kirkpatrick is a threat, so it's easy for him to get those blocks down there.
Arden Krzyzewski knocks it home, and with that, Gary, a couple of things go into the record book. That is equaling the most points ever allowed by a Pat Dye Auburn team. 41 in a loss to Nebraska. That was in 1982. And 41 points to Florida State in 84, but they won that one, 42-41.
I talked to Dave Hausel at halftime, the sports information director from Auburn, and he said in that 41 points that Nebraska scored, there was a lot of turnovers and punt returns and a lot of things happened. This game was just out and out. They're getting beat on the football, too, on the field.
Well, let's go down to the sideline and Kevin Kiley.
All right, Ron, to say the crowd has been a factor in this game would be an understatement. It's a new Florida field record, 75,459 in a 72,000-seat stadium. But hold on to your hat. That's not all. The Board of Governors has approved an expansion. And beginning Monday, this is the last home game, they're going to break ground on a new part of Florida Field. They're going to take out the scoreboard and add 10,000 more seats. And what will that do? It'll make Florida Field the 8th largest on-campus stadium in the country, and it'll be a real problem for visiting teams. Even my mouse ears haven't helped me tonight. Back up to you.
Thanks, Kevin. That, of course, was the artist rendering. At the 25, and now out to the 22-yard line. 21, Alex Smith, the junior from College Park, Georgia, making the return.
Ron, I think the crowd has been a factor here tonight, and this crowd is very loud. But the main factor has been this Florida football team on the field. If there were 10,000 people in the stands, they were making things happen. They're blocking, they're timing. They're in a zone that you get sometimes when just everything works.
Let's look at it this way. There has been a very good marriage between the two. Stan White, happy to report, back in the lineup for the Auburn Tigers. Shaken up earlier, but now okay. Williams straight ahead and good. Heavens, what a hit. 54. The first man to come across was Mark Murray, and Huey Richardson is down at the bottom of the stack. Here you made the point that when things are going right, they go right. And it's not only offensively, but they're dialing the right things defensively.
When the two defensive ends meet the tailback in the hole, you know something's not going right on your offense.
Blitz coming up the middle. White gets it away, has his man open, and Wasden with the reception. Nope, they're going to say incomplete at the 44. Mark Murray again putting on pressure.
Jim Bates is not letting up, brought 8 people again. Stan White a little bit off balance as he throws this one. He's got a guy in his face. He's going to throw it just a little bit short. Let's just check out and see if we got the proper call here. Goes down. Does he get his hands underneath it? Boy, I tell you, it's like he caught that one.
8 of 21, 2 interceptions. And with that one, Stan has now missed 6 in a row. 41-7, Florida leads. 6:50 remaining, third period. Almost intercepted by Pete Bartlett. Good heavens, would that have been the coup de grace?
This time Florida fakes the blitz. They bail out. Stan White stays with Greg Taylor a little bit too long. Watch Bartley. He reads White. He breaks on the ball, and he has this one. He's got too much tape on his hand so to catch it. Got the gloves on. Oh, God, I want that end zone.
Nell. Fair catch has been called for by Barber, and he makes it down at the 33-yard line. That's 40 yards in the kick by Richie Nell, the 7th time that he has had to come in and perform tonight. Oh, don't forget, coming up next week, College Game Day at 11:30 Eastern Time. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Charlene Hawks. And then our schedule, the Ivy League, Princeton versus Yale at 12:30. Teams to be announced for both the middle game at 4 o'clock and also the 7:30 Eastern Time game. But a triple header next week right here on ESPN following College Game Day. Dennis Wallace, one of the first ones to come over and make the hit. That's a gain of about 4.
Little quick screen out to Rhett, lined up as a receiver. 1, 2, 3, throw it out to him. The line gets out there and try to pop it. You know, even when the plays don't work tonight, they're still getting 4 or 5 yards on them, and they've just run about every play they've had in their offense so far.
Kevin Randolph comes into the backfield, the freshman from Tallahassee. Eric Rhett breaks it to the outside and is down at the 42-yard line. Corey Barlow got just enough of it.
Kevin Randolph, the redshirt freshman, number 30, puts the block on the isolation play and breaks Rhett into the secondary. Rhett's just a fine-looking broken field runner. Very good cutback runner, reads the hole and has patience at the hole.
Gary, also you could see number 81, Monty Duncan, downfield blocking, taking his man out of the play.
Everybody wants to get in the act tonight.
4 carries, 64 yards, and 1 touchdown for Eric Rhett. He's a freshman, Pembroke Pines, Florida. Pumps, gonna go long. Looking for Trey Everett, and it went right through his hands at the 1-yard line. Ramsey was on the cover.
Eric Ramsey did a real nice job right now. They've been running the little curl route. There you see the pump action. This time Trey Everett runs the curl and go. Ramsey reads it. He gets back in coverage, but watch how well thrown this ball is to the outside, and Everett still had a chance to catch that ball about a yard from the end line.
Stops the clock with 5:20 to play in the third. Off one tackler, gets away from Merchant, and finally Tate comes over to help out. That's going to be at the 39-yard line, and it'll bring up a third down for Florida. They need the 32-yard line of Auburn.
Auburn's going to come in with their nickel defense. They have 6 defensive backs on the field, taking out the 2 inside linebackers. Alex Thomas has been drawing the assignment of trying to match up with Kirkpatrick all night, and that is not a tough job. That's a tough job for just about anyone.
Rhett will be the lone setback. Flag goes down. The 25-second clock had not run out, and I guess we're going to have a legal procedure against.
Ball start, right tackle move, offense.
So Rao came out of the stance just a little too soon, and 5 yards on. Now it's third down and 12. Steve Spurrier said his ball club had gotten over Tennessee. I think he's right. Those to his tight end. Kirkpatrick that time covered well by Alex Thomas, knocked it away, and it'll be 4th down, and the punting unit comes on.
But Thomas chased him across the field and had a nice job and got his hand on that one, but he really wasn't going to pick the first down up anyway, so it was good defense. They were in the proper zone and the coverages, and they did a good job.
5th time that Arden has had to kick tonight. Crowd means a great high coverage kick, but just a little too far. Used a 6-iron, should have been a 7. And we will take a break. Gators big. Memorable indeed for Gator quarterback Steve Spurrier. His precision passing was already earning national acclaim. And with the game tied at 27, they would need more than his arm.
I was actually our longer distance field goal kicker. I could usually hit from 35 to 40, and it was exactly a 40-yard attempt. I hit the ball right exactly on the seams, but it cleared by 2 or 3 yards, and we were able to win it 30-27.
And the favorite son has returned, first-year head coach for the Florida Gators. White's pass incomplete to Overton. Was the man he was looking for. Huey Richardson with his hands up and causing that pass to be thrown a little high. Huey left the ball game back early in the first quarter. He has been bothered by back problems, upper back problems. They put ice on him. And I have a feeling that the youngster is playing with pain, but he's still playing.
It's his last game at home. He wants to be a part of this, but you got to take your hat off to him. He really is playing a good football game. They'll keep it Stan White off balance. Blitzing, faking blitz, coming, not coming.
Over the middle, Overton. What an effort for the catch at the 37. 17 yards in the pass play.
This time they come, 8-man blitz, man-to-man coverage. He beats Fain, gives him a little fake to the outside. Fain has to turn his back and watch. He lays out to get this one. Overton grabs it, holds on when he hits the ground. Dale was a walk-on here at Auburn, and he earned a scholarship.
Greg Taylor, and let's get an update from Tim Brando. Timmy.
In the Pac-10, Cal with an opportunity to beat UCLA and USC in the same year since 1958. Robbie Keane simply missed this one. Southern Cal and Cal played to a 31-31 tie. By the way, the last time Cal beat SC at the LA Coliseum, 1970. Great day for Pulowski and Russell White. Back to Ron, Gary, and Kevin.
Thanks, Tim. 62 points. Fans got their money's worth in that, although the Golden Bears probably a little blue. Pressure up the middle on White, and he is sacked. First man to hit him was Godfrey Miles and then Mark Murray.
No great mystery what's happening here. They're just coming out. It's an all-out blitz again. A little bit of good coverage. Watch, White has time to get rid of the ball, but the coverage downfield's good enough where he has to pull it down, and that's all the time you have against a blitz. You're going to get eaten up on those plays.
Gary, and in the second half, Stan has only completed one pass, but when you look at the numbers, remember scenes like that, and there's no way, nobody who can throw from that position, is there?
You give some credit to those secondary guys. They are man coverage back there, and they're doing a job.
Pass complete to Danley, and he'll take it across the 30-yard line. Huey Richardson got bumped what he thought was a little late on the play, and that's the reason big number 90 was up. And a standing ovation across the way in the student section again for this Florida Gator defensive team. Punt of the night for Auburn. Terrence Barber gets by that first man and will not get by the second as the tackle is made. Well, the SEC standings, let's take another look at it. The Auburn Tigers were in control coming into this one, but they are about to go 3-1-1. Ole Miss is leading LSU down in Baton Rouge as they play in the fourth period. 19-10 is that score, so Ole Miss would go to 4-1 should they hold on. And of course, Tennessee 3-1-1, having been tied by Auburn and the loss at home to Alabama. Eric Rett. James Willis submarines him as he gets close to the 40-yard line. And we're going to check with Big E here, who keeps stats for us in the booth, but I think Auburn for the ball game barely has over 100 yards total offense.
They have just been kept off balance with that pass rush so much. Stan doesn't have a feel if they're coming or not coming. Very good disguise, and when they come, they are coming, I'll tell you.
119 yards total offense Auburn with 1:18 left in the third as the flag goes down, and McClendon will have to go back and realign on this one. 119 yards, and we are just about through 3 periods. In fact,
good ball, fall. False start. Right guard pulled out too soon.
Heck, when you consider what has happened in all the blitzing and the loss with the quarterback, which comes off rushing yardage, they are at minus 16 yards rushing tonight.
That is going to be very, very embarrassing for this very proud Auburn team. There's still some time, but when you look up at the scoreboard, and they have the stats on the scoreboard, by the way, you can look at them as the game goes along. You see a big 0 up there for rushing and only 5 first downs. You know you've had some problems.
Deep over the middle, Mills. In Auburn territory again, and it's John Wiley coming up to make the hit.
Not by Wiley.
When the offense is clicking well, your quarterback just feels when guys are getting open. Watch Matthews. Little fake. He curves. He delivers. There's not even a guy in the picture. That's how early he's throwing the ball. The ball is to the area before the receiver. Everybody's on the same page. The receiver's going the right depth. The line is blocking properly. The running backs are going and holding the linebackers. Everybody's in conjunction. The offense is just clicking.
Will McClendon cuts in behind the block, and he spins it down to the 40. That's going to be a gain of 9. Dennis Wallace, the strong safety, comes up defensively. Kirkpatrick with an excellent block to spring his running back.
Kirkpatrick again. This time he's going to be on Reggie Barlow, number 89. Barlow takes the outside. Kirkpatrick stays in his face, and McClendon goes inside, just like you draw it up. As a tight end, all you have to do is get in somebody's face, latch on without getting a holding penalty, and push.
4 fingers go in the air. It is 4th period time. We will take a break. Gainesville, Florida, the final 15 minutes. And as we mentioned at the practice field on Thursday afternoon, a plane flew overhead pulling a banner that said, "Go Gators, beat Auburn." It has been that kind of spirit and preparation for this one, and tonight it has been all Florida Gators. On the 2nd and short, I'm not sure if McClendon's going to have that or not from where the spotting's going to be. It looks like 3rd down and still about a half yard to pick it up. Much emotion. Florida, under NCAA sanctions, cannot win the SEC and cannot go to a bowl game. This add the fact that it is a great rivalry with Auburn, and the last time that these seniors will play here at Florida Field. And they have combined all of that for a magnificent effort through 3 quarters to lead 41-7. Now this time Shane Matthews just takes it ahead. Lamar Rogers on the bottom of the pile.
You know, Ron, officially they might not be able to win the SEC and go to the Sugar Bowl, but you won't be able to tell these seniors if they go and get a 10-win season, something that Florida has never done, win 10 football games in a season, that they haven't accomplished a lot this year, and they'll take home maybe not a trophy or a Sugar Bowl trophy, but in their mind they're going to believe they're SEC champs for the 1990 season.
You know, let's point up again. They did not make that, by the way. The punting team comes on. What you said was, and that is a surprise to a lot of people, Florida, in the history of their football program, has never won 10 football games regular season.
Well, they still got a ways to go. They got some tough games.
But without a doubt. But it's still amazing, even that number, don't you think?
I was shocked. We read it and got it, that fact. And, you know, you think of the great tradition of Florida football. They've never been able to get that magic number 10.
Martin Tedeschi to get the punt away. Tries to angle it, but well, this one is going to take a Florida bounce. And Odom will down it at the 2-yard line. And let's go down to the field and Kevin Kiley.
Thank you, Ron. Maybe it was the number 4 team in the country, Auburn. Maybe it was the predicaments that the University of Florida football team, a fine football team, found themselves in. No bowl game, no SEC title, no national title. Whatever it was, it attracted a lot of media. In fact, a record amount of media. 437 representatives of the national and local media here at Florida Field to watch Florida take apart Auburn tonight. Back up to you.
All right, Kevin, let me give credit to Bromley. It was 52 rather than 57 who downed the punt at the 2. Those linemen don't get much credit, so they don't miss it. McIntosh in the ballgame at quarterback. Hands off to Danley, and he takes it out for some breathing room out around the 10-yard line. Monty Krill from the free safety spot is there to make the stop.
You know, another important fact about tonight is that Florida had 125 key recruits at this football game, and I think they're having a good time, and I know Steve is having a good time showing them this type of game tonight.
That's so important, particularly when you play a big conference rivalry and you have recruits in, and you really don't want to boot that one in front of you. Fee Bartley again on the defensive play, and Danley simply had nowhere to go. Let me correct what I said of the SEC standing a while ago. Tennessee with 2 victories rather than 3, with the 1 loss and the 1 tie. I think, yeah, there it is. 2 1-1 rather than 3 1-1.
Not wild. I don't think he's going to have a chance tonight to pull off another miracle. But he's done it a couple times.
Boy, John has been great consistency for them, particularly on the big kicks. But you're right, not in that position tonight. McIntosh avoids the rush, and oh my goodness, what a catch by Victor Hall. Tight end pulls it down at the 20-yard line, and that will move the chains, and Auburn will keep this drive alive. Good for 12.
Little bootleg action. McIntosh is coming out, and this is a tough throw. When he comes out, he's going to have someone in his face, and there you see, he's got a guy in between him. Number 41, Ed Robinson, and he lays it up over Spear right there, and Hall makes a nice catch. Nice throw by Frank McIntosh.
Frank is a senior, Camden, Wilcox County. Alex Smith in the ball game, a junior from College Park, Georgia, number 21. McIntosh running for his life now, gets it away complete. That's Baxter across the 40 and out to the 44. And let's go to Tim Brando and get another update.
I want to talk about an amazing day between TCU and Houston. Matt Vogler playing for Leon Clay, who's out for the remainder of the year, 44 of 79, 690 yards. That is an NCAA record for a single game. Klingler of Houston, well, he had some good numbers too. 36 of 53, 563, 7 touchdowns in the game. Also, his 7 consecutive 400-yard-plus day in the air. That is a passing record as well, Ron.
What they do, play basketball down there, Tim?
Can you imagine being a linesman or a stats keeper on that one?
One team threw, what did he say, 600 yards?
690.
690, the other guy threw for 560. Holy cow. He must have wore treads into the field on that one. There was tracks all over going up and down. 690 yards passing by one team.
Florida being asked to step back beyond the restraining line there. You can imagine with the exuberance of the team, we still have 11:27 to play on this one. They're inching a little bit closer. The officials going to push him back. McIntosh on first down. Sets well and delivers it over the middle to Taylor at the 41-yard line. Monty Groh is there defensively.
That's the 3rd nice pass that Frank has thrown in a row. This one right on the button with Taylor. Little curl route. He gets back in the pocket, sets up very nicely, and delivers it. This Florida defense now, though, is not giving the same blitzing look that Stan White saw earlier in the game. They're sitting back in the zone a little bit, having a little mercy on it.
You know, this is Auburn's longest drive of the night so far, 56 yards. Fee Bartley from the outside, and in from the inside, Mark Murray, number 54, the senior from Apopka, Florida. I mean, McIntosh had to dodge Fee Bartley to keep him losing his head.
You see Fee come off the corner, and number 21, Alex Smith, tries to get him, but he forces up into the pocket, and Murray just comes in and gets the cleanup sack. Fee Bartley, he just makes play after play. You know, the more you watch the guy, you say, well, it's because of his position, he's out in the open, but he is so aggressive, and he hits people without even breaking stride. A real deluxe hit.
Herbert Casey in motion. McIntosh drills it incomplete. Defensively, Jimmy Spencer. He's a senior out of South Bay. Didn't start the ball game tonight. Del Spear did. And he got a hand on it. Pressuring the passer, number 50, Brad Culpepper. Spencer does an excellent job on the special teams. He's got 2 of their 4 blocks on the punt team.
Jimmy Spencer, who had been the starter, was replaced by Del Spear, but still, he's got the speed. He can run, and he's been, you know, he got a little bit blamed for the long pass that Tennessee hit over him, the tight end pass. But, you know, that was an in-stride pass 50 yards down the field.
Well, Spencer, the guys were giving him trouble yesterday in the individual punt block action suspension because he overran a couple, and they made him go back and do it again. Screen pass to the left side. Alex Smith going to be hit by Jerry Odom and knocked down. It's going to be fourth down at the 49-yard line.
Jerry Odom, the senior, just has a way of getting in, getting under people, and getting in your hair. The screenplay, Bob Meeks, number 70, should have him cleaned up, but he fakes him, makes the play, bounces outside. So frustrating for a lineman to have a little linebacker come out like that and make you look kind of bad on a screen pass. Richie Nell, good hanging kick, and Barber's just going to catch that and run out of bounds at the 21. 41-7, Florida. College Football Saturday, Auburn at Florida, is brought to you by GMAC, helping America put GM quality on the road. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. Ron Franklin, Gary Danielson, and Kevin Kiley at Florida Field in Gainesville. And we've got rain falling here in Gainesville. 41-7, the Gators leading this one. They probably don't feel it at this juncture. Drop play to McNabb. He'll have one, maybe a couple. And let's go to Tim Brando as flags go down here.
Ron, I know you're interested in LSU Ole Miss. Ole Miss could be putting this game away. They've missed a field goal, leading 19-10. Here they are again inside the Tiger 20. Tom Luke looking for Vincent Brownlee, picked off by Corey Raymond, his second interception of the game. Ole Miss has the ball inside LSU territory again. Tale of two teams going in different directions. Mississippi, if they get a win, providing Florida does what they obviously are doing, could get to the sugar. LSU may be out of the bowl picture for good if they lose this game. The Independence Bowl, a possibility, but that may be the only one that would want the Tigers if they're 4-4. Back to Ron.
Thanks, Tim. So the Ole Miss Rebels holding on to a 9-point lead. Of course, they still have the Tennessee Volunteers. That game up in Memphis, and they still have, of course, arch rival Mississippi State coming up as their final game of the year.
You got to have the feeling that there's all the bulls in the country are on conference calls right now, reshuffling who they're going to have in these bowl games.
Followed by dead ball fall, personal fall, blue.
The shot of Cunningham, he was one of the players involved. Ismail was the other person involved in the skirmish. You know, we've had gorgeous weather here the last couple of days, but with the wind blowing, this pretty good little monsoon coming in here.
I'll tell you, when we get this straightened out, first they marched it off one way, now they're coming back the other direction. Let's take a look and see what happened on this play. Kerrigan Cunningham, number 47. Here the whistle blows. He gets shoved a little bit by Ishmael. He comes right back, hits him in the face. The two guys, one is during the play and one is after. You know, when you got a guy down like that, you're frustrated, you're out there, you're going to take a swing at anything. And it's just the tight part of the game. You've waited, you're a senior, you're playing for the SEC championship, and all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and it's 41-7. And it's raining, the crowd's singing, and somebody shoved you from behind.
9:16 left. Could not decipher exactly what the conversation was as they're still discussing on the far side of the field.
I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the football game too much.
Pat Dye has been given the explanation on what happened. Ron Gilbert, our referee tonight. So the ball is being respotted at the 23-yard line, and the yard marker shows first down. And let's go down to Kevin Kiley to update the situation. Kevin?
All right, Ron, near as I can tell, it's a dead ball foul on both teams. They stepped off 15 yards, but then they had to bring it back, and I believe it's first down.
Clay, is it raining hard down there, Kim?
Was that inductive or deductive reasoning? Barrett with a little reverse. Took the ball, counter step, went back to the right, and will step out of bounds, which is just what his coach did not want. He'd like for the clock to continue to run with 8:55 remaining in this one. Mike Campbell was there defensively. Boy, the national picture takes on a real complexion change, I guess.
Well, no doubt Notre Dame's going to jump to #1, and they deserve it with the schedule they play. And if they can finish off this season and finish off with Tennessee, Penn State, and Southern Cal and win those 3 football games, they deserve their #1 ranking no matter what happened today.
Red on the draw play, and he will make it to the 30-yard line.
You know, I guess the other thing that starts shaping up here right now is what about a little Orange Bowl rematch? My pick early in the year, Colorado, is back in it a little bit. They're climbing forward. They knocked off Nebraska in Nebraska. You know, one of the things we were talking about, Ron, is how those teams with the weaker schedules, they've been knocked all year. There's been a little bit of hesitation to put Nebraska up any higher because of their weak schedule. In Virginia, everybody was down them. They both lose at home this weekend.
And at home is a great point. I think Notre Dame should move back to the #1 spot as well. It's been an unbelievable schedule with a lot of work left to go. Knocked out of bounds, and now a flag comes down. That's Alex Thomas, who spun him down out of bounds. What we thought was just going to be a little shower now has turned into a fairly severe thing, and a lot of people are heading to the exits. The marker comes down at the 27-yard line.
There you go.
It was a face mask and a 5-yard face mask penalty against the Auburn Tigers. So it will be 3rd down Florida. They need to take it out to the 48-yard line. Okay, Gare, who goes to #2, who goes to #3, and who goes to #4 then? Review.
Well, you know, a team that has really been playing well and coming on strong, I think, is Washington. They can make a claim
I agree
to
with you
move up.
wholeheartedly.
However, Colorado did beat them, so they're going to be in a position to at least argue that point. There's a lot of time to go, but I think Washington, Colorado,
Houston,
Notre Dame, Houston all have claims. And, you know, could BYU sneak back up there again, too?
Scoreboard show coming up immediately following the ball game is Lee Corso will visit with Mr. Brando about this evening's happenings and also converse even more about what we've been talking about here, is about what is going to happen with not only the top 10 but the entire top 25, but the shuffle will really be on at the top. Krzyzewski does not hit this one well, but he gets a good floor to bounce. It's going to go inside the 40-yard line, so we'll take a break. 7 minutes left in the ball game. The Gators by 34. It's 42 on sacks. They have a net of minus 20 yards rushing this season. Total yardage 164. McIntosh lofts this one, and he has got Taylor open. Can't hold on, just inside the 20. It's Will White with the cover.
You know, and to kind of emphasize that point, when you look up at the scoreboard and see 0 yards rushing, Florida still has their starters in there. I think they'd like to finish this game off with a big 0 for rushing yards for Auburn, and they want to put a big period at the end of this sentence tonight. They're still out there. Murray's still out there. Odom's still out there. Richardson's still out there. They're going to finish this game off. They don't want to give up yard 1.
McIntosh 4 of 8, 47 yards since he's come to the game. Pressure hit by Fee Bartley, and that has been, I'm going to say, incomplete pass, as Florida went diving for it at the 30-yard line, and McIntosh shaken up, but he gets right back up.
Well, Fee Bartley's got to either be one of the best players in the country or have the best position to play in the country, because nobody blocks him all night, and I'm sorry, that's not a pass either. He caught him as he was bringing it back. But Fee Bartley, he again just runs through the quarterback like he's not even there. Look at that. Clean hit. He did not duck his head, put his face right into the quarterback, and the 4 Auburn quarterbacks tonight have not had a good time. Speaking of good times, Steve Bartley's having a good time. Who wouldn't?
He's had a blast. 2 of 14 for Auburn tonight on third down conversions. Pitch back goes to John Stewart, and John is not going to have it. Not even close at the 42. It's Mark Murray defensively for the Florida Gators. I don't think those people feel the rain. No, not with a 41-7 score.
Well, the Gator fans feel no pain, no rain. They are hurt.
Funny to Monty Duncan, I should say. Duncan makes the fair catch, and we'll take a break. 6:10 left in this one. 41-7 the score. As you look at the Auburn band down in the corner of the end zone, they've tried to do their part tonight, but it just was not meant to be here at Florida Field this evening. Eric Rett, that's Wallace from the strong safety position, who jumps up and makes a hit. Let's take a look at some of the teams we've talked about, the remaining schedule. Notre Dame at Tennessee next week. Penn State at home. They close at Southern Cal. Washington, if UCLA at home at Washington State. Colorado, they have Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Both of those are at home. And of course, for the Houston Cougars, I know next week they are in Austin, Texas to take on the Texas Longhorns.
And the Longhorns are sneaking up slowly.
Longhorns won over Texas Tech today. They have one loss, that one against Colorado. And the Cougars undefeated. And of course, Georgia Tech has only a tie against them. That is going to be enough for the first down as Rett again runs with a little counter step and then brings it back almost like a naked situation. Picks up the first down. 8 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown for him tonight. Excuse me.
This is the fun time of the game. You get to think of all kind of hats you can wear on the sideline. Look at there, you see Culpepper. He's got a towel wrapped around. Little chic action. Get to sit back, cheer, let the rain hit you. The last football game. Seniors are happy. Mothers are happy.
Eric Rett, good read on this one. Little stutter step and goes back to the right. Now the BC players of the game will be announcing those, one from each team, as we come down the home stretch in this one. Right now it's 4 minutes and 50 seconds left to play. We got a lot of candidates, particularly on the Florida side of the football.
I think the guy who's done the best job for Auburn may be their punter tonight. At least he got him off.
You're stealing my thoughts, but it's very true. Against a team that, as we talked about, works so hard and is awfully good. They've already blocked 4 this year. In fact, that unit has 35 points of either causing blocks or miscues. Matthews going long, and that's Mills incomplete. Defensively, Alex Thomas had the cover on him all the way. Now that surprises me a little bit, and you can hear the Auburn fans booing down to our left, and I'm not really sure that I can blame them with a 41-7 lead and to put it up on top.
Well, you know, when you're getting beat that bad, you know, they still have Shane Matthews in the football game, and they're trying to score points. You get beat that bad, you really don't have any complaints, though. You know, if you want to stop them, go stop them. Football game's got 4 minutes to go. Go out there and play football.
They push him out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. John Wiley is the guy who got him.
Well, one time they go for the big pass. This time they just run it up the middle. Which play's more effective? Rett pops through. He's into the secondary. Out the side. Just a good-looking runner. Watch. He switches hands with the ball. That gives him the straight arm so he doesn't get hit, and he protects the ball a little bit.
He's got 129 yards on the game tonight. Right again in the draw play. John Wilson there to make the stop for the Auburn Tigers. We're about to go under 4 minutes to play. Coming up up after the game, Tim Brando and Lee Corso with the College Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Residence Inn. Those gentlemen have a bunch to talk about this evening. You're right about the bowl people.
They're burning the phones, aren't they?
They're shuffling some feet right now.
No, it's a lot of fun. I tell you, everybody is in it. They've got a lot of balanced teams.
Rhett got tripped up just by a hand, and a flag comes down, and now a couple. Campbell is the man who tripped him up. Just as he went through the hole, he was breaking for daylight.
Well, some of the second liners are in. Number 73, freshman Jim Watson. Watch him pull and get in there. Fits very nicely, and Rhett just trips over the line right there. Sometimes those lines are bigger than the other lines, and going to march off some more yards.
Stankunas.
Oh, personal foul. Defense. Automatic first down, first and goal.
That was Stankunas, number 29, who came in and hit him after he had gone to the ground. So this moves it now to the 7-yard line. Line is Randolph, and let's go to Tim Brando, understanding as a final of that LSU Ole Miss game.
That's right, Ron. LSU goes to 4-4, but I want to talk about Billy Brewer. What a job he has done. He is 8-1, scholarship limitations because of probation, the Chucky Mullins tragic story. Ole Miss now has a week off to prepare for Tennessee. Tennessee will have to play Notre Dame before they get Ole Miss. The game in Memphis, just a few miles from Oxford. Ole Miss with a schedule advantage going into that game.
He's right. He's done a great job. You know, you had a lot of people picking for the SEC title, but Mississippi. Oh,
yeah. His second.
That's that misdirection pitch again. He starts one way, the line hold their blocks, and he flies into the end zone. Uh-oh. He catches the pitch, and it's misdirection back the other way, and he takes a full head of steam right into the end zone, lands about 5 yards deep, and goes into his routine.
Well, with that, that's the most points ever scored against a Pat Dye team, and the extra point attempt still in front of us here. Chepsky knocks it home, and that makes it the Florida Gators 48 and the Auburn Tigers 7. Who would have thought it? So for the seniors, a very big and dramatic evening for them. And we showed you the senior walk as they came through the tunnel, being patted on the back and handshakes with the underclassmen as they came through.
You know, I think your points are so right, though. These seniors have gone through a lot in this program.
They are resilient, aren't they?
And this defense for the past couple of years has been one of the best in the country. There you get a shot of Murray right there. He's played defensive end. He's played... And the Jerry Odom, there you go. Get into it, Jerry.
Jerry's daddy, of course, the head coach at Merritt Island, has won 3 straight free state championships in the state of Florida.
But the seniors deserve a lot of credit. They've provided the leadership. You know, each one of these games has been their bowl game. And again, let's point out the fact they are not going to be SEC champions. But don't tell these guys, if they win the rest of the games, that they are the champions of the SEC. They will walk around the rest of their life saying everybody that wants to listen.
The conversation about November the 3rd, 1990 will be relived many times in many years to come. You know, for guys like Kirkpatrick and Terrence Barber, Ernie Mills. Cherry runs out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So we have 2 minutes and 24 seconds to run off the clock. And the Florida Gators will win their 7th game against only 1 loss. Auburn will go to 6-1-1.
There they are, guys on the sidelines. They're going to someday get together and talk about this game. You know, a guy I also want to salute, Huey Richardson. He came in, he had 12 sacks last year as an outside linebacker. They asked him to move to defensive end where he was going to be involved a little bit more, taking on people, not the big impact player as he can be on the outside. He's going to be involved in helping his football team. And Richardson has been very unselfish. He's done what he's asked to do. He's had a great year this year, and he's done it at a position that he never played before. You know, and a lot of guys get, you know, they say all they care about is themselves. There's a guy that sacrificed his personal stats for the good of the football team.
That's a great point. And, you know, Jim Bates talked about, you know, what all he had asked him to do. Big night for that fellow there, Ephesians Bartley.
You know, Ephesians playing linebacker. Last year he was a strong safety, but he's all over the field.
There's Bromley.
Chris Bromley, the senior captain, has had 23 consecutive starts. His leadership has helped him through a lot of tough times, and tonight he gets to celebrate.
And on the other side of the field, the pictures speak volumes. And like I said, just 3 weeks ago tonight, we were in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we saw those same expressions on the guys wearing those orange headgears. Sometimes these nights happen, and sometimes the magic works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, this is going to put a dash in Auburn's NCAA hopes of winning the national championship. But they still have a chance to win the SEC title. They've got to regroup now. They've still got 2 big football games in the SEC, and they've got a chance to still win.
So let's update the standings in the SEC. Ole Miss 4-1. Florida will be 4-1, and don't forget the asterisk means ineligible for the SEC championship. Auburn will go to 3-1-1. Tennessee at 2-1-1. And hey, don't forget what Florida has coming up. They call it one of the really large parties around. They've got Georgia coming up. That game is played in Jacksonville, and that is an affair. .140 left in the ball game.
Everybody's going to get a chance to come in and play a little bit now, but not the type of night that Auburn wants to play as the backups when you come in and have to play from behind like this. You don't mind getting in the game late when you're ahead, but when you get in there and you're behind, that's not how you wanted your opportunity to play.
McIntosh over the middle, knocked down, and that ball very close to being intercepted by Darren Mickle. Let's go down to Kevin Kiley.
Thank you, Ron. We talked about senior leadership on this team, this Florida team, and of course one of the great seniors on the team is linebacker Jerry Odom. This is Jerry's parents, Peggy and Gerald Odom. Gerald, a 3-time state championship coach at Merritt Island in Florida. First, Peggy, to put it mildly, probably one of the most tumultuous eras in the history of Florida football. Jerry's been here all 4 years. What has it meant to him, and has it helped him as a man and as a player?
Well, I do think it probably has given him a chance to step forward and take a leadership role that he might not have done otherwise.
Gerald, you're a football coach. You certainly would like to see your son come win a championship, play on great teams. He has played on great teams. Are you satisfied with his career here in Florida?
Yeah, I'm really satisfied. I think the only thing we're probably disappointed in that he didn't redshirt. He came here when they were really down and they needed people on their special teams, so he didn't get to play. If he'd have redshirted, he'd have had one more year. But those things, you got to play when they want you, and they needed him then. So
what's in Jerry's future?
Well, I think he's going to go into coaching. I talked to him long about it, but that's what he wants to do, and I think he'd be a real good coach. Right now, he's worried about the rest of the season, but I think he's going to end up being a football coach.
All right, well, you certainly set a good example. Jerry Odom's one of many very fine seniors on this Florida team. Ron, back to you.
Okay, thanks very much, Kev. I know that the Odom family extremely proud of this young man.
Uh-oh. Looks like we might get a little Gatorade bucket here. Murray and Culpepper are laying in wait. I hope Spurrier's got to put his visor on right now. It looks like he's got a rain jacket on, but he's going to get doused with a little bit more than rain in a minute.
Of all the 2 guys on the team, I mean, those guys are almost inseparable. Murray, Culpepper, and Odom is always right there with him. Doesn't surprise me that they're the ones grabbing the Gatorade. 22 seconds left in this one. Brian Fox running the team at quarterback. Kendall Cook takes it down to the 40, and we will let the crowd count this one down for you.
They got him.
And the Florida Gators, from the get-go, letting know that this was their night. Let's take one more look at Steve getting his orange bat. Oh, it's green. I'm sorry. They gave him the green stuff. And let's go down to Kevin Kiley with a wet Steve Spurrier.
All right, down on the field here with Steve Spurrier. Steve, in your wildest imagination, do you think you could thump Auburn this badly?
Well, actually, these games happen like this a lot of times. If we had time to throw the ball and our offensive line has its best game of the year, we felt like we could throw it. And we got an excellent group of runners, and our guys were really ready to play, and we play well here at Florida Field. So, you know, if everything went right, it could happen. But if everything went right for them, we could bet on the short end.
Okay, you came into a tough situation. No national championship, no SEC title, no bowl game. Where does this game fit in?
Well, we can still finish top of the SEC, and that was the goal at the beginning of the year. Playing the album mark, let's sing it.
Back upstairs to you, Ron. Thank you, Jerry.
Again, a congratulations to Steve Spurrier and his Florida Gator team. We're going to take a break. We will come back with more from Florida Field, but right now, let's pause for this. Florida 48 and Auburn 7. 8 and Auburn 7, and many of these players really not wanting to leave Florida Field tonight as they head up the tunnel. Our players of the game brought to you by Visa. Tonight for the Auburn Tigers, the gentleman who wears number 9, free safety John Wiley. 7 solo tackles for him this evening. Had a very fine ball game. And for the Florida Gators, the youngster number 9, Shane Matthews. His numbers tonight, 18 of 28, 207 yards. Hit his first 9 passes on the evening. Visa will award to each school $1,000 for being selected as our players of the game, and also $1,000 for each player to the U.S. Olympic team. Gary, closing comment from you tonight.
We thought there were 2 keys to this football game. Pat Dye believed he could run the ball against this Florida defense. He was obviously wrong. 0 yards rushing in this football game, including the sacks, but still a big 0 on the scoreboard. Secondly, they had to have some pass protection. He felt he could throw the ball. They had great.
Okay, so for some Florida seniors, their final game here at Florida Field. And in fact, the official numbers say this is an all-time rushing low for the Auburn Tigers as they finish with a minus 14 yards. We thank you for joining us. Now for Kevin Kiley and Gary Danielson, this is Ron Franklin saying so long. The Gators 48 and the Tigers 7. Tim Brando.